Welcome to Power Bombshells because I didn't play the promo. I missed the button. It's because I was so excited that we have a guest. It's Power Bombshells 168. I'm Mel. That is Sam. We're just two broads talking about the wrestling we watch. Garrett's going to be like, why was there not an intro? We have a guest today as well. We're welcoming our friend John back. Some of you were here the last time John joined us. We did some art for some wrestling. He drew some Best of Super Juniors art for us back in the day. Awesome. And he's back with more art and more fun and more to chat about. So welcome back.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks. All right, see. All right, what's up, Sam? What's going around?
Sorry we were late. We were chatting off air, and then so we've just been. But also, I want to say a quick shout out to Happy Father's Day to our dads who are watching us today. If you if you are on good terms with your dad and still have a dad, happy, hope things go well. If those things don't apply to you, then we are here for you. We know that today can be a rough day for you, so hopefully we distract you with some good wrestling talk and some fun art.
Yeah, perfect.
I don't know if I drew any dads. I'm sorry.
I think Christian Cage is gonna be my daddy today. That's what I decided this morning.
I saw AEW posted today something, and it was about dads, and it was a picture of Christian that they posted. And then I saw Dominic Mysterio came up my timeline, and he posted a picture when he was a little kid, and it was him and Eddie Guerrero.
Do you guys remember the Who's Your Daddy match between Shingo and ELP from a few years ago?
Yes.
And when Shingo won it.
Yes, and ELP kept calling him daddy. He was drawing.
He was like, let's go to baseball now. They're like taking photos.
Yes.
I think I saw that MJF wished Adam Sandler a happy Father's Day, even though he's not his real dad.
Yes, so, I saw that too.
That was pretty funny. I was like, that's fair. Spiritual daddy. Why not? What was it? Was it Colt Cabana who got mistaken, or he got mistaken for Colt Cabana's son?
Oh yeah, they used to do matches together where, because Max, bears a resemblance to Colt, and they were just like, okay, let's do matches where we reveal halfway through that I'm your dad.
See, that sounds on brand for a Colt Cabana match.
He had like a baseball glove and a ball, and he'd take it out halfway through. He's like, come on, son, let's throw the ball.
Oh, I'm so glad we can have wrestling dad talk. It's amazing. Yeah. Happy Father's Day. Welcome everyone in the chat. Thank you for joining us today. And happy Father's Day to all you pops out there that I know are hanging out there. I'm partly responsible for John's avatar, and I do have to take responsibility for that a little bit because...
Oh yeah, it's a Richard Nixon shower head for anyone who's wondering. Mel gave it to me. She found it somewhere, I guess.
Bob and I were going through some old family things at one point in many of our travels, and when John as well as I know him, you know that he has something of an interest in the Nixon entire everything sphere. And ironically, I even took a class on Nixon in college, so we have that background. So occasionally when we come across collectibles, we picked it up immediately, and we're like, well, we know where we're sending this.
Richard Nixon is the closest thing we've ever had to a hobgoblin in the real world. Like he's just like this little, I just love how his humanity never was hidden while he was like the president of the US. He always looked like frail and wobbly. Like he's the opposite of like you see like say Emmanuel Macron, and he's like Mr. Suave French guy with his perfect hair, and like Nixon was like this little, like Nixon looked like he should have been playing for the ring with Bilbo in the cave with Riddles, He's the greatest.
Yeah, he looks super trustworthy and looks like, wow, this dude should be president of a country.
But like, he got like what? He had like a 90% approval rating, and still spied on his opponents,
I
who
know.
he was battering in like every like that. It's the ultimate act of human insecurity.
Insecurity.
It's-
That's exactly what I was just thinking. I was like, how insecure? I always
Yeah.
think that when I think about him. Because I'm like, dude, you were killing it and you still felt weird. Yeah, that's some American level stuff right there. I mean,
Yeah,
you
he's.
can't-
There's been several great Nixon movies as well, like the Oliver Stone Nixon, um, what's called the one with
yes.
what's his name, the Elvis one, the one that was the TV movie. You ever see that? Where it was like about Elvis going across the country to meet with Nixon.
No.
Yeah, it's really good.
No, I don't think I saw that one.
The guy who was like the prison warden in Shawshank Redemption played Nixon in it.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Black Dynamite. How could we forget Black Dynamite?
That's right.
He
How
fights
do you
Nixon
know
at the end.
famous? This famous Nixon sightings around the media sphere.
Again, he's the Futurama president. You know, he's interesting. Like he's a
He
little
is-
goblin
he is-
man.
He is the Futurama
I
president.
got one, man.
That's a
He's
perfect-
comfortably a part of history as well. You know.
truly,
So-
indubitably. All right, let's get this party started. Welcome, everybody. All right, so for those of you just joining us, we are about to have a little. And John, these are in no particular order except that we agreed on the BOSJ thing going first because that
Yeah.
happened last time. So you can yell at me or say accordingly, but I put them in the order that I wanted them in. So.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so here we go. So this is one of this year's.
Yeah. Do you know what I love about this? You can see me losing interest as you move from left to right.
You mean you don't have interest in Robbie X and his terrible theme music?
No, look at Robbie. I've seen Robbie on the Indies a million times. I respect his athletic ability, but goddamn, man, like he's the most generic man in the world.
Yeah, I don't get the hype about him. He had the one. Who was it? He did have one really good main event match. I just forgot who his opponent was, and that was like the highlight of him
Probably Hiromu.
in USJ. Yeah, probably, but it was just and his.
It
his
was
theme
early.
music
It was
god
like
awful. We had to mute it like when he would come out because it's that awful.
it was when he Teton.
Was that it was the main event match. Yeah, you know what? I think it was Teton.
I think
obviously
because or
it's Teton,
Ninja Mac
so-
because it might have been Ninja Mac. That's what it would have been because it was like one of the ones I managed to get to before I not lost interest, just ran out of time and have to catch up.
Yeah.
But I quite like the Hiromu and I quite like the Kushida in this one. Because like I got to put a little Daryl and what's her name, Nehru,
Yeah.
in the Hiromu thing, and he's got they've got interesting clothes.
Yeah.
Interesting clothes and interesting hands. That's what I like drawing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because hands are really difficult to draw. They're like the double jump moonsault of drawing. You just do it to show off.
It's so true. I've honestly watched your because I don't have the patience. Hands are like the hardest because he's right, and I don't have the patience. But I've watched John develop it over the years and dedication.
Yeah, speaking of hands, Jackie Chan. All right, I got super. This has got nothing to do with wrestling. This is just what I get up to. All right, and like last week, I was like, oh man, I just want to draw Jackie Chan from Drunken Master, and that's what I did for like a day. And those are my favorite ones. I just love drawing Jackie's hands and his face. He's just such a brilliantly expressive human being.
Yeah, I was just so expressive.
And I love Jackie Chan so much I'm able to forgive. Yeah, I love him so much I'm able to forgive his shilling for the Chinese government, and that's you know.
I mean, a man's got to make money, right?
Yeah. Oh, this one I found today. I was like, I forgot drawing this.
I love this when I saw it. It was a little funny. I was like, oh my god, I think I remember this, but I don't know. This is awesome.
Again, check out his hands. It's all about the hands.
John, you're so fun. I love that there's like all these like, because some of the ones they were like a surprise. Because I was like, oh, look at this, look at him getting all fancy, and I was like,
Yeah, I've gotten to drawing elephants this week because I just can't be bothered drawing people anymore. I drew Jackie Chan like 15 times, and I was like, I just can't draw this man anymore. I need to start drawing animals or something.
That one's really cool.
I had to throw up these. I love these because I haven't seen. You've just started drawing animals, like you said, and so I haven't seen stuff like this before. So I was really excited to see.
That's the first time I've ever drawn an elephant.
That's your
Of course
first
it was.
elephant?
Of course, it was your first time, and it looks like that.
Now, people,
That
let's
looks
be real,
incredible.
though.
I would not. I mean, I have no artistic skills, so mine would just be line.
My good friend Kyle Von Kubik would say, as long as you get the bulge, that's the most important part. So
we know that guy. He designed our thing.
He
He
did.
designed our cute power bombshell. I like that you chose an elephant first. And I just want to be clear. He makes it look easy because he spent like 1,000,000 years doing it. Like, it's not like he woke up yesterday. I mean, he's talented too. Don't get me wrong. But
oh yeah, it's all practice. Like the people always say, like, "Oh, this person has talent." They don't. There's no. I don't know if talent exists to a certain degree. Like like inbuilt talent. Some people are tall. Some people are short. Some people are able to draw naturally. You know, like no doubt about it. But it's all practice. Anyone who's any good it's the difference between being good and bad is thousands of hours of practice.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all it is. Because like, and being willing to suck at the beginning.
Yeah.
You know, because like if we were looking at my art from 10 years ago, you'd be like, "Oh, that's pretty good there, John. Yeah, well done." I like that. I mean, it's paint on paper, you know, just like Picasso.
The best part is I got to be there 10 years ago. So I actually have seen it evolve. It's been really fun for me.
But the best thing about it is you get better at it the more you do it.
Totally. Oh,
You know?
Thank you.
that was very nice.
Appreciate that.
Thank you so much. Wonderful. John is a super good at this stuff. I like it. Oh,
Oh,
I
yeah.
like this one.
I found this there today as well. I was like, I forgot drawing
Oh, I
Willow.
love it. So cute.
I knew you would.
I can't remember why I was sketching her. I was just like, okay. And you can see here, I've written success, now what? And I never did anything else with her. I was just like,
He's like, done. Success. I don't have to do anything else with it.
she's like Jackie Chan. She's got like this amazing face, you know, that you can capture very without like a lot of detail, you know.
She's super,
Yeah.
like, she's got good colors. She's got good charisma. She's got, like, if you just want to, like, I don't know, for when I'm doodling and stuff, it's because something, like, really strikes me. It's because it's loud in my mind. And that's in a good way, where I'm like, ooh, that's fun. I kind of want to capture that in my own weird way. And a lot of times it's because it makes me either think of a friend or it's something that, like, again, she's got everything. See, Willow's even drawable. She's so fun. She's even drawable.
It's just like, what do you see in that person as well?
Exactly.
Right.
You know, she obviously has more detailed tattoos than I ever. I just drew smiley faces on her shins and her arm because I was like, I'm not fucking drawing all this shit. That's not, you know.
Not that's for the paid projects.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And
Wait. No. Let's go with this one first because it went through the Ishii one first, and this one I know is a little older, but
yeah,
not everyone has seen it. Like,
no, I included this one because I was like,
and you have to put Ishii after Willow because now they're like besties in the conglomeration. So
but I just put this in here because I
she
thought
made
maybe.
him smile.
But I thought you guys might like it. I don't know. This is the start of a period of me where I was like, okay, I'm going to draw in a specific stylistic way, you know? And it's funny, Willow made Ishii smile, but a friend of mine made Ishii smile once as well. and it was genuinely one of the
Good.
funniest things I've ever seen. He was drunk and he kept on fist bumping Ishii at the gimmick table, and the first two times Ishii like didn't respond, but the third time he just burst out laughing, and the best part about it was Shibata gave him side eye. He was like, Shibata's standing there going, "Fucking hell, come on, man." Yeah.
Oh my god, even better.
That's why the indies are the greatest. Oh, I couldn't hear you, Mel. What?
Mel, I think you muted yourself.
I did. I muted myself because there's mowing going on.
Oh, okay.
I was saying I love the indies too. It's like the one place you can do that sort of thing and get away with it. I was even thinking about that today with Swerve Strickland, where I was like, I used to stand by that guy in the halls all the time, just normal. The reason I love this one though is when I remember when you first did this, I actually kept it downloaded on my phone in case my stuff erased it because I liked it so much because it's Ishii.
Yeah, I did. There's another one in here I did around that time as well. You'll probably see it in a minute. But this one isn't that.
This is not that because this is one of my all-time favorite drawings you've ever done just because of who it is.
Amazing.
Yeah. It's the Sheik attacking a giant octopus that's for some reason lives in that big lake next to Detroit. You know?
Totally reasonable. Well, they are pretty big, even the small ones.
Are there octopi in freshwaters?
Are there fresh? I was just gonna say, are there freshwater octopus? I don't know.
I don't.
I mean,
So,
look,
but I could be wrong.
there's not mustachioed octopuses either.
Certainly
You know,
not.
this
Well,
is
there's-
Well,
it's a work of fiction.
if the Great Lakes were going to have octopuses, I think that they would actually have mustache because of it's so crazy here. It would just be a thing.
Of course, yeah. From all the
It's
shit
because it's
floating around.
Silent
in them.
Hill, you know. It's the Silent Hill effect.
I was thinking about the Crow. You know, the guy was talking
And
about.
that.
You know,
All
I
of
should have drawn the lake on fire from all the shit.
You could have, because of it's the Sheik, you could have had like flaming.
Oh yeah, I could have put the flaming rags from that FMW match.
In the background.
Yeah.
Or you can make the little pier on that he's like jumping off of. You could make that be on fire.
Yeah. Somehow Onita's screwing him out of money.
Yeah.
It's,
Well, I think that's assumed from the
Yeah.
picture.
that used to be
Right.
one of the matches that we'd break out back in the day when someone would dismiss wrestling. And they'd go, "Oh, wrestling's fake," and be like, "Oh yeah, is the fire that's killing these people fake?"
I've read about that from multiple people's perspectives now who are involved in it one way or another, and that doesn't sound fake at all.
Although that fire match was
No.
just, yeah,
No.
it was just madness.
Like, yeah, they're lucky that they made it out of that.
Oh yeah, I want to tell you about this. These
Yeah,
are
please.
these guys are like characters a friend of mine created, and
Uh-huh.
there are two guys, there are two wrestlers who are a terrible tag team, but they officially renamed, like they legally changed their name to John and Barry World Tag Team Champion. So everybody has to call them legally the World Tag Team Champions. And like
That's brilliant.
if
Is
you,
it the friend I'm thinking of that's responsible for this?
oh, it's Liam. Liam came up with
Okay,
it.
all right. I didn't want to blow his spot up without you saying it. Okay. I was like, that had to be a John and Liam moment. There's no way it wasn't.
The main guy there, the tall guy, he has a tiny little heart on the dick of his tights as well. Just so everybody knows where the tip is at all times.
Oh my god.
And yeah, we were just like, I love drawing, like, and I don't mean to be disparaging, but I love drawing disgusting cretins, and that's what that's what I tried to go for here. Inspired a little bit by the legend Jimmy Del Rey, if you remember him from back in the day. Genuinely great wrestler, and like I love Jimmy, like how he had like he did like the body roll and stuff, and then he just had like 3 teeth. He was awesome, and the little guy there, he's obviously inspired by the Spud Man himself, Benito Mussolini, who You know,
Oh, your favorite dictator.
some of the kids I work with, I was talking to them about Mussolini, or I was talking about Mussolini, and someone went, "Oh God, he's on about the fucking spud again."
If you're not getting it, John has imagine a wrestling fan with interest in boisterous political and global figures. It's weird.
Oh, human insecurity and like bombasticness is the thing that I love. I just can't get enough of it. I can't get enough of people who like. There's like I can't remember the name of it. There's like a concept in psychology, and it's like a four-paneled window, and it's like in one panel it's things we can see about ourselves, and another panel it's things that others can see in us that we think we can't see. And guys like Mussolini and all these guys, it's so obvious. Like they think they're fooling us,
Right.
you know? And they're like, "Hey man, I'm fucking awesome, right?"
They're
And you're
holding
like,
big parades. What?
"No, you're just a scared spud man." You know?
No, your insecurity is wide open, dude. You are
Yeah.
blaring it.
Your insecurity is showing.
You've dressed yourself like steampunk Robotnik. Okay? What am I supposed to infer from that?
I love you. That's why. And
Crash TV says that.
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No, you go.
Read. This was to John before we move on to the next piece. He said, "Is that a fellow Irish artist I hear? Where's John from? Greetings from the Big Smoke, Dublin, Ireland."
Of course, yeah. I've seen Crash TV in Jim Valley's shop before. I didn't realize we were both in the same time zone.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm down here, down in Strawberry Country. You'll know where that is.
I was gonna say is not in the West because I like saying that because
sadly
of John, I will always say snakes and spiders.
I had my time out west. I
know
can't live there anymore.
Me either.
I'm just too much of a curmudgeon. I was in a cafe in Galway once, and there was like a cute Galway hoodie for sale in the cafe. And I remember looking at it and going, "Fuck this place, fuck that hoodie, fuck everyone in here, including me." And like that was just my reaction. I was like, I can't live in this fucking like hippie city anymore. You know, I just can't do it.
And it's way overpriced.
Yeah, well, Galway's Galway's a nice place, but like you have your time there.
The reason that I understand is because not only is Galway like Seattle.
It's twinned with Seattle.
They are actually sister cities. So at the time John and I met each other initially, we were living in sister cities and didn't even know it. So that was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, that's where you buy the best strawberries on the motorway. It's like you will never find better strawberries than on the side of a road being sold by a farmer, usually in a shed painted to look like a strawberry. Those are where you get. Those are where you get the best ones.
That's like fruit stands here. You've got to get the. I don't think we've had any food stands that look like the food that they are selling, but those are the best places to get them. Is food stands on the side of the road, and they have like the from a farm.
I used to pick.
We have our.
Oh, sorry. I used to pick strawberries as a child because the child labor was fine back when I was younger. And yeah, we used to. This is terrible, but like I remember a kid comes up and he goes, "They pay you by the weight, right?" And I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Piss on him." I was like, "What?" I was like, "What?" He goes, "Piss on him," and he goes, "They won't be able to tell." And the piss will add more weight to the strawberries, and they have to send them to the factory to wash them anyway. So that was a thing back when I was younger.
I can't. I guess I'm really not all that surprised.
Wow. You see how our European heritage is actually deeply embedded in our roots? Because like what you just described could have almost, not entirely, not in its entirety, but a very good chunk of that could have just been describing the county over from me. So
well, people are people.
I know.
Right.
Well, and when we
a
have a lot
request.
of the same like staple crops, and we have a lot of the same farmland types, and everything. And Ireland is a ginormous farm from when we were there. There's just sheep and farming everywhere.
Well, the thing is, as I pointed out to you guys, look, we don't have a lot of room.
Right.
You know,
We're
if you
only
can drive, if you can drive from Dublin to Galway in 2 hours, that tells you everything you need to know. We don't have spare land.
Bob and I
You
figured
know?
it out. It's the size of West Virginia, but it only has the population of less than half the city of Manhattan. So,
Wow.
yep.
Manhattan only has 10 million.
Oh, okay. So you guys have the same number basically as Manhattan.
Well, no, Ireland has like, well, the whole island has like 6, I think.
Oh, it was 6. Okay.
6, I think, or maybe 5.5. I don't know.
Oh, okay. I thought
Our population still hasn't recovered from the potato famine.
Yes.
You know, so there you go.
I can't wait until they start deporting me back to my homeland because I'm a quarter Irish. So I'm hoping.
Yeah. I mean,
jokes aside, let's look at art.
Hang on, before we go to art, we have a request. Somebody's or a suggestion is that you should do a wrestling theme picture of Taco Tuesday.
well, what does that entail?
If he's referring to the political reference, I will fill you in.
I was saying, which Taco Tuesday are we talking about? The person who is being referred to as a taco these days? Or are we talking about actual Taco Tuesday? So, Curryhead, please. Our comments are sometimes they'll come up to us a little like on a delay, so we will get you an answer to that question. But we will look at some art in the meantime.
I've never eaten a taco. I know they're hard.
No,
they have soft. They have hard and soft shells. It depends. You can get either.
You can mix it up a lot. Tacos are very.
Yeah, you can use tortillas. You can use the flour tortillas. You can use corn tortillas. There's lots of them.
I had a taco yesterday.
Yes, that's what I thought. It's the political taco.
Okay.
The orange one that holds.
Well, I don't really need to draw Trump because I kind of already drew him a few minutes ago. You know, the little guy on the box. That kind of fits him too.
I think the same rules.
Very much so.
I think the same rules apply. That's my hope. Oh, it's wrong one. Which one was the one that I had the first time? That was better. I liked that one better. Well, this is the whole thing.
That's amazing with the Jerichoholic shirt.
Yes, there. Okay, so it doesn't want to be nice to me, but this is really fun. I really like this one.
I love.
Yeah, I was sure.
It's Jimmy Hart, right?
Well, no, it's the Jerichoholic Ninja from the Jericho security detail from 1998.
Yes.
Oh,
Have you drawn Ralphus?
I haven't. No, I always preferred the Ninja guy just because he looked more like a Wario character, and that's kind of what I was inspired by here.
Fair.
But yeah, I just thought like the mullet has come back weirdly enough. But yeah, I love the farmer tan on him. You know, anyone who unironically wears anyone who actually that would be the best gimmick for Ninja Mac in AEW if he was the Jericho Ninja.
Ninja Mac, we have a gimmick idea for you.
We have your alt if you ever need, or his WWE character, God forbid. Never ever.
Well, that would require Jericho to go back over there, and I don't know.
Oh yeah, fair enough. Never. He's making way more money now, and he gets to do way more what he wants to do.
Oh, this one I drew for I drew this for OSW review. They're another wrestling podcast. I don't know if you know them. They're from Ireland. I did. This is like Kane's knee is in their Hall of Fame, and this is me. They got me to draw Kane, but with only his knee allowed into the building, and the rest of his body has to stay out in an alleyway.
It's amazing. I love it.
Yeah.
The thing that it's a little tough to see, I don't know if you can see, but it's like the no hot ashes is my favorite part of that.
It's like Kane, no hot.
That was so funny. It was because I was uploading it, and it really, literally, that one was like the one that popped me when I just was like, "Oh, hey, there it is." That's so cute.
Oh, this one was again. Me and Liam used to always do this. The Sid comic, where it was just like we loved the episode of Nitro where Sid's car got crushed, and I just wanted to draw it. You know.
I love it. That's so great.
Sid is so awesome. Like his face is like one of the greatest faces in the history of wrestling.
I knew there was gonna be there was so much fun stuff in here. This one.
Yeah, this one I did for WrestleSpective. They did a video recently about the WWE losing the E, and Scotty emailed me. He's like, I just want you to draw two pandas looking at the F being removed, and I was like, all right, leave it with me. And then I was like, how about we have angry Jerry McDevitt in the background? We have one of them eating the F like a piece of bamboo. It was great. Scotty's the man. I advise everybody to check out his channel. It's great. He does a lot of really good video essays, and he was a joy to work with as well.
Awesome. He clearly let you have fun with this, because you can always tell when John was like, "Oh, I like that prompt." And this I saved for last because this requires a bit of an explanation. But this is one of my favorites.
I think people, well, maybe not. Maybe it does need some explanation because I think people have seen the photo on the left.
Well, he did share it with us in the Discord at some point because he knew we would all appreciate it. But I will let John take over with the exclamation.
Yeah, this is the one I sent to people because it's got context to it. But yeah, I love a bit of cringe, okay? And the photo of Becky and your man is just overpowering. It's like it's just, it's so awful. And I just had it in my head one day. I was like, I'm gonna do Wario with Peach, and I was like, how did we do it? Wario's so small, she's so tall. So I just put him standing on the toe. And, yeah, I just love it. It's so crazy. I can't. It was a passion project, and I laughed at it every. As my main motivation in life is just to draw things and make my friends laugh.
He succeeded because it never stops. I told him I lied and said I was going to save this one for last. There is one more after this, but I did really have to make sure this was included.
But
when you sent picture, I'm glad you included this one.
But the picture of the guy, I remember just seeing it and going, "Who the fuck? He's like fucking Donkey Kong coming up behind her. Like, what are you doing? Like, why can't people be cool around wrestlers?
I don't know.
Like, it's just
the real life photo. The real life photo and the art gives us energy at the same time. You captured the energy very well.
Crash TV, 10 stars, 10 out of 10 on the literal toadstool pun. Excellent.
Didn't even think of that.
I know, that's the best part. Oh dear gosh. Oh, I love this. This picture is passion project. And I did this because John won't put himself over, so.
Oh yeah, no. This is my
of did, but I made sure people knew where they could find it.
No, but that's the Saturday Morning Crunch thing is actually, it's separate. I just did it on that piece of paper. I was like, how would I do a logo for the thing? But now this character here is a sad breakfast goblin. I love drawing cretinous characters that really embody just the filth of the human experience. And I love this guy. I just drew like the ultimate roommate who ruins your kitchen with his ball hair sticking out of his underwear, and his semi-ironic T-shirt that just has ass written on it, and it's right aligned as well, or left aligned, because it's like so it's so
edgelord. He's still somehow trying to be an edgelord and failing.
I just love drawing body hair and like warts and lumps on people. I just think it's the greatest. It's
And
my
this
favorite
was
thing
like,
about.
oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, you go ahead, Mel.
Well, the only thing about the Goblin that I love is that it was like it had a semi inspiration, not of a friend of ours, but from a friend of ours that you drew it sort of for in the original iterations. And so I always see him, and it reminds me of Roboduke as well, because
Oh yeah. I was just
you kind of made him. At heart, I think it was something that it was like between you guys. We all laugh at it because it's all funny. We all get it because, especially if we know the two of you, but it was something that was particularly fun between you guys that turned into a. I like the ones especially where it's like, I know what that's inspired by. I get that.
Oh yeah, I sent him a wedding card where I drew this
I-
goblin in the Shawn Michaels Playgirl thing, where he had a box of cereal covering his junk, and
Oh my god.
I was actually there. Fortunately, John wasn't able to be there, but I was very fortunate that the card from John came and the bride and groom were. I was present when they opened it and got to see the artistic surprises that he made them, and they're beautiful and wonderful. And
Oh, that's phenomenal.
so this one has, and they actually Roboduke also does the podcast as well. And guys, if you didn't know. Mr. Von Kubik, who was referenced earlier in the show, created our Power Bombshells logo and is a good brother of ours. So that's where you can listen to a little bit of Saturday Morning Crunch, which is this Yahoo over here and some of our friends talk about original Saturday morning cartoons. And it's a Patreon if you want to listen to the whole thing, but Kyle does put fun, hilarious clips out all over the Insta and everything.
we've done some wrestling stuff. We did Hulk Hogan's Rock and Wrestling cartoon, and we did that. I wanted to do a wrestling challenge episode, so we did one of them, and it was just like Roddy Piper like getting triggered by Bobby Heenan for about an hour. Yeah, it was great. But yeah, like for me, it's kind of I have no great like aspirations when it comes to audio. I just like
Fun.
doing. I get a lot of I get a lot of enjoyment out of making the shows with them, but I also like it's like great to have a record of you bullshitting with your friends. And that's the best. It's the best motivation for me to do anything.
So true.
Like I used to read about art and stuff, and like I feel like, well, why do I not want to say anything? Like when when like people like make great artworks about politics or great artworks about whatever. I was like, why do I not want to do any of this? I was like, and then I was like, you know what? I just need to lean into the skid. I just fucking like dicking around, and and I just like making things for people that I just, again, it might be something where I'll be like, Mel will laugh at this, and then I'll just do it, or Keith will laugh at this, or somebody will laugh at this, and that'll be my motivation. And I'll like the Wario thing. I just remember just thinking, this is just too funny not to do. I was like, I have to,
Well, I'm glad that you did it.
and it's like,
How about that?
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say that's good motivation. Is talking to your friends.
You kind of have to give people permission as well to laugh at what you do as well. I find because everybody wants to be supportive, and you're just like, and you're really trying to be really earnest in the reaction to it. And you're like, it's okay to laugh at the goblin with his pubes that I drew. I'm trying to make you laugh.
I like that you make it more accessible. It's like yes, it's a lot of work and a lot of time was put into these things, and you've learned a lot, and you've fallen down, and you've sucked, and you've not sucked, and all of those other things. But you're one of the people that the whole time has made it palatable to me, and John is like the opposite of the bougie artist. He would. Actually, like, I maybe just gave him an idea for drawing a bougie artist is how.
Well, I mean, I'm actually, I've gotten to know like a lot of other artists in the last year, and I find a lot of them are like, I think the business of art ruins art for a lot of people.
The business, yeah.
You know what I mean? And because I find like most artists are into everything. Do you like musicians? Like I remember the first time I started hanging out with musicians, and I assumed that they'd all just listen to the type of music they listen to, but they listen to everything.
Yeah.
And it's the business. That's the worst part. If we could have some kind of like, I don't know, some kind of Star Trek style, super socialism that works, that'd be wonderful, and we could all just sit around and be artists together. And that's the thing, like there is an absolute joy at the center of every artistic pursuit, I think. And I think everybody's capable of it. You just have to get over the fact that you're not going to be able to do it. What you call it? You're not going to be able to do it at the beginning. That's the worst part of it.
Yeah.
And I talk to kids all the time, and I'm just like, just keep going. Don't worry about it. And the best thing is like the best thing you can do is just not learn the formalities in some respects. Just do your own thing.
Exactly.
I'm just waffling now. I apologize.
No,
thanks
you're
to
fine.
everybody
No,
for
you're
the thanks everybody for the kind
Yeah.
words. But yeah, I said I'd like to do like a little drawing class at some point in the future. I was going to do it
Yeah.
today, but I literally was like, I fucking ran out of time, and I but yeah, I'd like to teach. I'd like to do a drawing class to show everybody how easy it is to do like character work. And I was like, I would like to do it with like a demo where I teach you all how to draw Tony Storm.
That would be oh my god. Yeah,
Well,
that
then you'll
would be
just definitely have to
incredible.
come back again and do that.
Well, I will, but I'll just have to take
Yes.
my time,
And you guys
and I have to.
bring your art.
But I have to give it like the reason I want to do Tony is because Tony's the one that like I've never had a wrestler win me over even after I couldn't stand him. Like, because I did not like the timeless Tony Storm character at all at the beginning. But she fucking got me when she did the whole rookie thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where she was pretending to be like her rookie self. I was like, that is fucking outstanding. That's some of the best character work I've ever seen in wrestling. And yeah, she's had me. And I liked her on. She used to be on the indies here all the time. I used to see her all the time.
That's
Yeah.
the reason the rookie version is because we saw progress when they came here because you put me onto it, and that's the version of her I saw. So I thought that was really cool.
She was like the one that was like you could tell was gonna make it because like she just had the look.
Yeah.
She looks like a TV star.
Yeah.
And some people don't, and they make it anyway, and that's amazing. Like I don't know, because some people you see as well, and you go, yeah, you've got the look, but you can't work. Like you got to hang out with this guy in his tights that need to be replaced, but he can just wrestle like nobody's business. Like just. But if you guys want to get on what you're getting on, I'll bounce. I won't get in the way anymore and steamroll over you talking about Okada and Callis and whatever fucking Liv Morgan said. The fucking scumbag.
Yeah, it was not. Yeah, it was not good. Again, as I often say, it's a good thing I get paid to watch that, or I would not.
It's the only reason she does it, folks. John, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your
Yes,
art with
thank
us
you.
today and all the extra
I love
time.
it.
And we will have you back on again. And I
We
will talk to you
definitely want to
soon.
have you on to do the art instruction for sure.
Yeah, and it was really fun talking about my work. I'm a lighthouse keeper. Every artist is. We all seclude ourselves away. I'm sure Crash TV will probably know what I'm talking about. Like you spend so much time by yourself, like just fucking working, and it's nice to be able to be social about it. And I like to do it like this because it's informal. Mel knows I will not survive in the world of the fucking wine and cheese opening. You know what I mean?
That's
Like
not him.
I need to hire somebody to do that for me. Like
You'll need an agent, like, or a front guy at that point.
I always said what I'd do if I was ever in a position where like I had to accept an award or give a speech at a college or whatever, I just hire the Outrunners to do it for me.
That's money well spent.
I'm like, I have no money now.
But it was worth it.
Anyway, I'll talk to you guys later, okay? I'm gonna go have my supper.
Thank you, John.
Oh, sorry. I want to say as well, Fucking good work keeping that keeping the light on the Janelle Grant lawsuit. I keep up with it by what you guys talk about. Um, yeah, because fuck Vince and fucking
No, I
I
mean, yeah, we were right there with you.
like I described him to somebody a while ago. I was like, Vince doesn't know this, but he has been my arch nemesis my entire life, and I want to see him in chains. So thanks for
A
keeping
lot
me
of people
informed on
do.
that regard.
Yeah,
Thank
absolutely. Thank
you.
you for that.
All right,
It was
see you
so
guys later.
fun. Talk to you
Bye.
soon.
Oh, that was fun. I'm glad that he came back. I really enjoyed
Me too.
looking at his art, and I like seeing the things that like were not necessarily, like his other. He's just so talented. Like, I mean, good lord, drawing an elephant for the first time and it looks like that. That's
And
really cool.
he again, I tell you this, but he is a humble man, but he's very talented and very smart and a lot of fun.
Very
And
talented.
so it's nice to have seen his art
Yeah.
grow also as a friend.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm glad that he even is wanting to offer to take the time to like show our audience, how to draw and just character work. And Time with Sonya will be a lot of fun. Even if he goes back and does like the rookie version of it, it'll be a lot of fun. So that's really cool. And we'll definitely have to get him back on here to do that because that will be awesome.
He's secretly committed to kind of letting I showed that again. I meant to remove it, but that's okay. He's secretly committed to letting the entire world know that if they just are willing to give it a whirl and want to, that they can draw a little bit and start there.
Yeah, I have very basic skills, so I would like to see. I mean, like you said, I know it takes a lot of practice to do those things, but I can draw some stick figures and I can draw a few things. I can draw little things, but not much. So it would take me a lot of practice, and I would still probably not be like that. But I appreciate that he, it's fun, and for the people who are interested in that, I think it would be really cool. So we'll definitely have to get that scheduled for you guys and have him come back on because it'll be fun.
And I'm a massive wrestling fan, and I realized what kind of wrestling fan I was because John brought me to an indie show 10 years ago in his homeland. And it was like,
shout out to John for that, because
way more.
Here we are.
So that's
right.
See how what comes all the way around is that, I probably wouldn't be even talking to you guys if that nerd hadn't brought me to that nerdy thing.
That's what I'm saying. So thank you to John for that, because that helps. Yeah. And so Nikki said, I always thought I couldn't draw, but now I want to try. He's great at hyping people up. Yeah. Well, you can tell because and obviously he works with kids, so he's probably really good at being, supportive and, hyping people up and being supportive and things like that. So I think that would be, we definitely have to get him back on here.
Yeah, I joked with him because one day he's like, I figured out that my art is a magic trick with the kids. And because I also had my background in career, I was like, oh, yes. Oh, it definitely would be.
Right.
Because especially with because he was struggling with the little kids at first, I remember. And one day he pulled out a sheet of paper and started drawing. And he was like, I figured it out. It's like, and it was like, and with little kids, that's one of the things that you do a lot with little kids. Because when you're a little kid, and I'm sure you guys can relate, you color and you draw.
Right.
Everyone does.
I still color.
And I do too. I've been filling up this steampunk. We've been watching the Bob Ross channel a lot here to keep calm.
Yeah.
And he got me reminded that I get calm when I color. So I've colored almost an entire steampunk coloring book this year.
Always before adult coloring books became like the thing. Like I always kept coloring books. Like I would go to the dollar store or Walmart and just like I would see I would have I saw like a Lisa Frank coloring book with stickers in it and I got it. And like I have so I had things like that I always kept because I would just get these urges like I want to color. And so I always have coloring books and stuff. And then like last year I got one of the planners that I got in part because each month had something to color. And so like I got some gel pens, but then my gel pens like constantly run out like as I'm coloring. There's plenty of ink in them, but like they'll stop. And so now I've gotten frustrated and have like got away from it. So I'm like, no, I was like, I have to just go back and do it. And sometimes when I'm coloring, like I have to remember like it's color, like it doesn't have to like,
there's no
the
rules.
Leaves don't have to be right. Yeah. The leaves don't have to be green. Like the tree doesn't have to be brown. Like it could be whatever color I feel like pulling out. And sometimes I have to remind myself like, It's just coloring. It's in a planner for yourself. It doesn't matter. Like you can color a purple tree if you would like. Like it's fine. So sometimes I have to remind myself, like, it's okay to not. It doesn't have to look like it does in real life. Stop putting rules on yourself when you're coloring.
Especially when you're coloring. Yeah, I would do. Sometimes I would get
Right.
really weird, and I'd like
Exactly.
pull all of my purple colored pencils out, like every verse, like, and just color a thing all in purples, or I just mess around. It is
Yeah.
relaxing, and like you just said, it's like you don't need to worry if you want to make that flower. I don't know what color. If you want to make the flower green and the leaves a different color, then you could do that too.
Right. Yeah, and that's like color. You can color a dog orange if you want to, or you can color it pink. It's fine. Yeah, and this is also first things kids do when you hand them a coloring pen would be to draw on a wall. It's in our genes. Think back to cave art, and it says art and making stuff is not exclusive. Certain institutions would have you believe that. Yeah, yeah, right.
So
exactly.
True. Well, definitely. And it's because, like John said it's when anytime business gets involved, and that's we see that universally with all versions of art. There's an art of wrestling business that goes on that makes it gross.
Right.
Ren fairs, I love, but there's business behind Ren fairs, and there's some pretty gross people doing Ren fair too that run them mostly. But here we are. That's money, and it sucks because we have what we call in like Ren fair terms and old school Ren fair terms, you would call them what the period police, the people who are coming around the fair telling you that, oh, that's not medieval, or it's not this, or it's not this. Like, shut up, dude. We're having fun. We're drinking out of horns or mugs, or we're dressed in it, and whatever thing makes us the happiest. If it makes me happy to come here as a fairy in wings, or to come here looking like a Viking, or whatever. It's like, this is not a place of judgment. Keep that to yourself.
Right.
But it's tricky because the profiting like the group of profiteers, the people that see a buck to be made, will always try to do that. And when that starts to enter the picture, it changes the dynamic a lot. So we could just coloring is good for you. Greetings.
It is. Thank you.
Greetings.
And
Thanks
also,
everyone
Nikki
for joining us.
I'm glad that was form for me. Apparently, something is making my responses skip, and I'm not sure what that is because I can't. On my end, it sounds perfectly normal. So
it's a little wonky back and forth on mine, so I can't tell if it's. But they've been working on my internet randomly, so I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, Nikki said she thought maybe it was my headphones, because clearly, like, I don't have a microphone I'm using because my microphone doesn't work, or we had some issues with it, so we just moved to this, and so I don't know if it's the headphones or what it is, but so I apologize because I don't know what the issue is, and I'm not sure how to fix it. So I'm sure that can probably get annoying, and I apologize ahead of. But yeah, I don't know what's happening and why it's messing up, because yesterday, as far as I know, when I did the podcast yesterday with Garrett and Keela, I didn't hear anything about that. So hopefully it was not messed up.
Well, I bet you that's it. I bet it's me. It's probably the Michigan interference.
Well, so hopefully it will be okay. And again, I apologize. Hopefully it's not super annoying, because I know the audio stuff can be a pain. So,
all right. I guess we have to talk about the wrestling stuff. Let's see.
I guess we do. I mean, we could just call it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
And also, thank you for you guys. We weren't here last week. I had a family thing that came up that I ended up going to be able to go actually to a family reunion on my dad's side of the family. I haven't been able to go for the last 2 years, usually because we find out last minute and it's like the day before, and I'm like, oh, I have a show already scheduled. And then prior to that, we were still finding out last minute. So this time I got like 10 days notice. I was like, we were going to try to find a co-host, and people were busy, and then Mel had some in real life things going on, so we just decided to take the week off. So we apologize for that, but also we just needed to do some IRL.
It was good for us to do some family stuff. I got to see some our early season fairs are starting around here in Michigan, and I got to run into some people that I haven't seen in a long time, who I didn't realize I've known for a decade, and that was a little mind-blowing for all of us.
Yeah,
It was a lot of fun. So I kind of had an impromptu family reunion too, in a weird way.
Right. Yeah. So it worked out. And so, so of course we missed some topics, and some of it we're not going to, well, there's actually some things we're going to touch on, some of the stuff. So we will talk about a little bit of it, but yeah. So I guess we'll start with the WWE portion first.
Yeah, get rid of that. Since we started out so great, we may as well get rid of the crappy part.
Yeah. So we will. And I guess we can, and also, if we have time, depending, and I know, speaking of strong styles, really going to go the G1 entrants were announced this morning.
Oh yeah, I saw that right before I came on G1.
We might hit those up as well. Yeah, and I think I saw, maybe a result or two from the show. I haven't really seen a whole. I think I did see. Yeah, I think I saw a couple of things, but nothing too bad. But then I saw something that they were saying that the show was just okay. It wasn't as good as they thought it would be, but I don't know. That may have just been a couple of people that I saw that reaction from. Like, it may not be an overall type of deal. Thank you. That we are glad that we took the day to ourselves, but we're glad to be back too. We miss talking to you. We really enjoy our community here for sure. Wait, so did you see that Gable Vikingo best WWE match? I did not end up seeing it. I did cover Money in the Bank, but I was out doing stuff before, so I didn't catch the Worlds Collide, right? I think that's the name, because I kept wanting to call it. I kept defaulting to call it Worlds End. That's the AEW people pay-per-view. Worlds Collide. But I did hear that Gable and Vikingo, and I knew when I saw that graphic, I was like, oh, this match is gonna be excellent, because Vikingo is incredible. I'm so glad now that he's involved with WWE. I'm so glad that I got to see him in GCW when I did. It was like right when he first started coming to the US and he got permission to do shows in the US, and he was in the main event of the show that I saw, and then I got to meet him afterwards, and that was like my entire goal. Like, that day was like, I have to see Vikingo and I have to meet him. Like, I need to. So I was on a mission. Like, we made sure, like, and so I did get to meet him. I got his autograph, and I bought this. I have to show it's on my bookshelf, but I bought this cute little sticker of him, and it's like a little cartoon figure, and it's holographic, and it's adorable. And I was like, I have to have this. It was great, which is why I hate this dumbass gimmick they've given him. The other one, where he's cosplaying as a luchador. I hate it, because Chad Gable does. I don't know why I always pick on him, because Chad Gable is amazing and he deserves better than that. And so I'm glad he at least got the match with Vikingo. I heard it was very, very good. Curry had said, I saw Kingo in Chicago about 2 years ago in a street fight with Nick Cage, and it was freaking crazy. Oh, I can imagine if it was a street fight, because he's crazy in just regular matches. So
yeah, that guy. He's a guy. We did not get to see him on our GCW show, but that guy's a legend.
Yeah.
Legend.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. And they never give. I don't know what the deal is. Like you said, I don't know if he they just don't like him, or somebody's got beef with him, but they always put him in the dumbest gimmicks when he really can actually make things work.
And Chad Gable, a phenomenal talent. Like, I don't get it. Yes, and so the G1 is going to have 4 playoffs to make it into the tournament, and the first one starts on Monday the 23rd. And so, you know what? I guess while we're talking, we can just go through the. Do you want to just go through the G1 bracket?
Yeah, sure.
Real quick. Not the brackets. We've got the entrance in the block, so not the brackets. So, and again, if you want more in-depth analysis, definitely make sure on Thursday to tune into Speaking of Strong Style, because I know Jeremy and Steven are going to definitely go into it. Maybe by then, I don't know when we'll have the actual matchups announced, the brackets and stuff, but we did get the announcements this morning during Dominion. So ELP Tana will be competing in his final G1, which is crazy. And I'm glad, I just don't know if this was the right call, because this is such a grueling schedule. And to put Tana, we know that he has knee issues and all kinds of things. And he's not the Tana that he used to be. Not that he's not, still, I mean, it's anytime to see him is great, but I'm a little nervous for him.
Well, I was surprised. I was surprised to see his name on the list only because I genuinely, and I guess like what presidents and promoters lie, but I wasn't assuming that he was going to be a part of it because he seemed to indicate that he wasn't, but I guess he is. So, okay.
Yeah, and he got a few days ago, something leaked. It was like a photo of something. I can't remember. It was showing something else, but Tana was in the background, so it spoiled officially that Tana was going to be in the G1. But several people said that they just kind of assumed it anyway, just because it is the last G1 that he would be available. So they kind of just assumed he'd be in it anyway. So I guess it's not like a huge surprise, but it did get spoiled a few days ago. But Sonata is in it. David Finley, Evil, Yuya, and Bolton Oleg are in the A block. And then our B block is Goto, Takeshita, ZSJ, Grace Okan, Rin Narita, Shingo Takagi, and then, as we've mentioned previously, 4 more entrants. They will basically earn their way into this tournament starting on June the 23rd, and we'll find out who those 4 are when that happens. And I did see that Hartley, who is in TMDK, was bummed that he wasn't in it, and Jeff Cobb was like, he was like, well, there's still play-in spots to be revealed, but he's like, I remember feeling the same way when I got left out of the G1. So I was like, well, that was nice of Jeff to say that. And I like Hartley, but I was kind of disappointed to see, and I know it's because they've not been using him in Japan, but I really was hoping that they would put Bad Dude Tito in the G1 because I think he would be really great in that spot. And since they don't have, I think that they kind of are missing a big man, and Jeff Cobb, they do have Hartley, but so Jeff Cobb is kind of the big man that isn't there anymore. And I think that Bad Dude Tito would probably be, not that he would be replace Jeff Cobb or anything, but if you're looking for another big dude that, because he gets a great reaction every time he's in Japan and fans love him. And so I was a little surprised. I mean, but I guess I'm not super surprised because they don't bring him over as much. And I've noticed they've not booked him for the last couple of strong shows, but I don't know if that's just because they're trying to rotate more people in, or if maybe he was previously booked or something like that. So, but I think people forget that he's in TMDK because, they will mention him on commentary and things like that. And sometimes I'll mention him in backstage promos, but I think people forget because they haven't brought him over in a year, I think. So I would like to see him come back, but it seems like Hartley has kind of taken over that role in TMDK as the big man. And I was like, so hopefully they'll figure it out, but perhaps Hartley will be in one of the people who makes it into the play-in. But again, and we'll talk about it more as we get closer and we know more about it, but I know that Steve and Jeremy are definitely going to talk about this. And and it's huge that Bolton Oleg is going to be. I'm glad to see Takeshita in there. I still think that Takeshita should spend more time in Japan outside of the G1 because he and Kyle Fletcher are doing things so similarly that it would be good to have them going on parallel runs, one in New Japan, one in the US for the Don Callis family, and kind of split them up a little bit. I think would be smart because I feel like they at times overshadow each other because they're on the exact same path. And so it'll be interesting to see how they handle that, especially because it has 3 contracts with 3 different companies. I assume that while he's there, he's going to do some DDT stuff like he did last year. He did before the tournament started. He wrestled for DDT while he was there and then competed. So
yeah, and I remember that now.
Yeah. I Make Beats said that King Take has been dethroned G1 winner. Oh yeah, I think he lost. Did he? I guess I thought I saw something about that. I guess he did lose the never open weight then, which is unfortunate. And it's interesting that you'd have him lose the never open weight going into the G1, but I guess Yes, I did see that the Goto Revolution continues. This has gone on. This has lasted a lot longer than I expected, and I'm not mad at it because I love Goto, but I really thought this was gonna be like maybe a 3-month race. I didn't really see it going on, but I like that they're putting him into the G1 as the champion. And I think the fans have really gotten, fans love Goto, and so I will enjoy the Goto Revolution for as long as we get it.
Nice.
Yeah, I bet it was because those two are phenomenal.
Well, that sounds like a good
match was great.
matchup anyway.
Yeah, definitely going to try to catch that, sometime this week.
Same.
I definitely want to check that out for sure. But yeah, so that has been the New Japan portion of the show. Well, actually, we'll probably talk about when we get to the AEW stuff. Oh yeah, awesome.
Okay,
Ishii and Taichi versus United Empire was also a banger.
Okay,
Thank you for telling us
that tracks. Yeah, I want to catch the show. I just was doing so much stuff. So.
Yeah, and it came it was on at 3 a.m. here.
Yeah,
and so I figured it would be sometime this week.
Later in the day, guy.
Yeah. And I did hear about the 3 members of who got added to House of Torture. I
heard a little bit of shenanigans and unhappiness in our Discord about it. So
2 of them, I'm not surprised. But the 3rd one, I was a little surprised that they added him to House of Torture. I don't know if we should just go ahead and spoil it.
It's up to you. It just happened.
Yeah, we'll let if you guys want to know who's in House of Torture, we'll talk about it. If not, you can watch Speaking of Strong Style on Thursday.
Yes, I think I
don't know how it happened. I just know that they have been added to, and I knew because House of Torture had been saying that they were gonna add 2 new members, and then they ended up adding a 3rd one. So,
well, and I think there was even fear going into this that things were going to happen that ultimately kind of did happen. Just because I was reading through our Discord channel and some of the people's guesses were pretty close. So
yeah, I think I saw Chris Samsa was making the point that like a year ago when Tana took over as president, he was like, we're gonna watch the House of Torture stuff. We're gonna like cut down on the interferences, which hasn't really happened, and now as 3 new members on top of that. So it's really not any, but from what I understand, I mean, I guess House of Torture is still, I know that like in Japan, they had a very different reaction to it than like Western audiences did. So I guess it's still something the Japanese fans are like into loving to hate it type of thing. So I guess that's why they did it again. They have to book for the Japanese audience. That's who comes to their shows and buys their tickets and things. So, there's that. So you mean they've turned into the Bullet Club? I did see though, what's interesting, because of one of the members that's now in House of Torture, there are no original Bullet Club members left in New Japan. They're all either out of the company or this person is now in another faction, and so there are no original Bullet Club members left.
Weird.
Yeah, I was like, that's really interesting. I mean, I guess that it makes sense, wrestling evolves and things like that, but like, yeah, interesting. I make beats, and I can see Philly pulling an upset this year, Boss Dog, and they said gut noise. How was that? Yeah, I didn't know that until I saw it last night. That Finley was gonna be in a death match today with it was I'm blanking. I'm sure somebody in the chat will tell me, but it was a dog collar death match, right? Isn't that? I believe that's what the stipulation was.
I don't know.
I was like, wait a minute.
That I'm not sure about. I missed that one.
Crash said it's more like Special K and ROH. LOL, everyone and their nan is in HOT now. Yes. Yes. Okay. Evil. That's okay. Thank you. I knew that I saw it and I was like, wait, a dog collar match? It was a dog collar match, but I think what I saw on Blue Sky was they worded it as a dog collar death match. And I was like, wait, what?
Evil.
You have made me intrigued created an evil match in 2025. So mostly because David Finlay is in it. But I saw him in all because Crash TV said Sonata is a bit is viral material. He came out dressed as El Gigante wearing a gold thong. Yeah, I saw him come out, and I saw a clip of him this morning, and he was completely silver, and he was just like walking down the ramp. I was like, I mean, yeah, Sonata is wild AF. I was like, I mean, I guess there's a method to Sonata's madness. I don't know exactly what is happening considering where Sonata was LIJ and Sonata post LIJ.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's still pretty to look at. It's just I don't know what's going on with him and his character stuff. And like he still has some decent matches, but like that, I don't know if just like having a not great title run just sent him off in a different direction.
Yeah,
or I can't tell if like how much of this is him just trying out different things and how much of this is New Japan doesn't know what to do with him. And I don't know. Crash said, so I was wearing that bodysuit El Gigante used to wear with the muscles drawn on. Japan is wild. I mean, he said, nah, he looked iron today. I mean, he looked okay walking down the ramp from what I can see, but again, he was in this muscle thing. And I was just like, oh, all right, Sonata, well, you do you as long as you're getting paid, and I guess if you're happy, because I don't know anymore. I don't even Sonata's just it is what it is, I guess. I don't know what's happening over there with him. It's just a complete like 180 of everything that was happening for him. And I think that I guess that title reign just sent him off.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like he didn't
wrestling cliff.
Yeah, he got it and then he didn't hit, and I don't know what happened. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it just sort of he just played out. I don't know.
Yeah, it's which is really interesting because I didn't.
So now he's doing over the top things clearly to get attention.
Yeah, and he just it's really really interesting. He's gonna bring back the $3,000 speaker jacket. I'm not surprised. That speaker jacket was quite the look.
Was a look.
But yeah, maybe Sonata just wants the viral bits now. Maybe he just wants the attention, and that's where he's going. He's going to be a meme wrestler, I guess. I don't
just be an influencer. Why not? So. More yen in that, maybe.
All right. Yes. So we're going to bring this way back to last Monday. So last Monday, I was watching Raw. And Nikki Bella made her return. It was clearly to set up something for Evolution 2 because last week we were 5 weeks away and 0 matches had been announced at this point. They ended up announcing something on NXT, and there's going to be NXT is doing a couple of things like their NXT seems to be more proactive in creating matches. But we are now, tomorrow I think we'll be like 4 weeks away, and there have been 0 matches announced. So this is how much they care about this show.
Wow.
And hashtag counterbooking is what, as I said to Keela yesterday, hashtag counterbooking, because that's what's happening. But yeah, so
no, but Sam, Nikki I've been told that AEW is not competition for WWE.
They are just booking to be booking, I guess. But yeah, so Nikki comes out. She's putting over the women's locker room and how great the vision is, and how much they she puts over specific people. But apparently, and so Liv Morgan, she did not name her directly, and so Liv Morgan took offense to that and just comes in real hot, just like one of my fellow writers was like, "What is she so mad about?" Like, she's just stomping down the ring, comes in really fast, literally yelling into the microphone. We were like, did you not learn anything from Becky last month when Becky was screaming into the microphone and fans didn't like it? But so Liv's yelling into the microphone and talking about how she needs respect because she's a tag team champion, she's multi-time champion, she's held the women's title, she needs respect and all this stuff. And she was like, then she says to Nikki, I have 3 things you don't. I have respect, even though she was just saying that she didn't get respect, I guess, from Nikki. I have respect, I have a title and I have a man. Singing about how she has a man. And then so Nikki, of course, just kind of nodded along. And then Nikki was like, so they're playing this thing with as I've mentioned before, now they put Roxanne in the Dominic Mysterio vortex. And she was like, well, Nikki was like, well, do you even have a man anymore? Because it looks like, because Roxanne stole your spot. So Roxanne, and previously in the night, there was the Queen of the Ring qualifying match, and Roxanne stole the win out from under Liv. And she's like, she stole your spot, and I think she stole your man. So it's just this whole played out stereotype that they do with women's wrestling. But what pissed me off about the Liv Morgan line is, why? Well, because it's very public that she divorced her husband after a domestic violence situation. That is why she doesn't have a man. And it just really pissed me off that they would even consider saying it. And I don't fault Liv Morgan, because I know she is reading a script. She is going off of what she's told. But it was just, and I don't know how they keep roping Liv into this, because Liv is the one that they made last year, when they decided to mirror certain things from Janelle Grant's lawsuit. It was Liv that had to play it out.
Yeah.
So now you have Liv saying this. So I don't know why Liv is the one being forced into these situations. And I felt bad for Liv, because it's not her fault. But then to see Nikki Bella, that they have always just seen her as somebody's partner, because, and earlier on the show, John Cena opened that show. He did the opening promo on this on this show. So you have that whole situation. I mean, that, obviously we all know that, she spent Total Divas basically, right? I didn't watch Total Divas, but like from what I know about it, the show has basically spent the whole revolving around, is John Cena will he propose to her? Will they get married? They had him propose on television, and then, as we know, it didn't work out. And so it felt like they're holding Nikki back to this person that she's been gone for 6 years. And it feels like they only ever see her as John Cena's partner, or now it's John Cena's ex. That's how they see her. And so when I went back and watched Evolution for the podcast yesterday, the main event was Nikki Bella versus Ronda Rousey. And so before we get to the main event, they're recapping like how we got here. And then, so in that segment, the clip that they showed, Nikki's talking about how her and Brie broke down all these doors for women in wrestling and all of these things. And Ronda says to her, the only door you've broken down is John Cena's. And I was like, that was 6 years ago. And here we come Monday night, and we're
the same
still,
shit.
It's the same shit. Nothing, there's been no evolution in how you write Nikki Bella and how you treat her, and how a lot of women, I mean, of course, yes, we've seen some advancements in the way women are booked in WWE, but they often fall back on these tired tropes and stereotypes. And so it just showed me, I'm like, you don't see Nikki Bella as anything other than, either at the time it was John Cena's girlfriend, than John Cena's ex-girlfriend. And that was just, it really, really pissed me off. Like, I was like, because originally I was actually going to write about John Cena's promo, because it sounded, because it was a shot at all the fans who got Ron Killings' job back, basically. And so I was really annoyed by it, but then that happened, and I was like, nope, I have something else to talk about. And 582 words later, it was funny because the editor was like, technically the limit is 500. He was like, but I can tell that you were mad. And then he read it. He was like, there's nothing I can cut from it. He's like, it's so savage that I'm leaving it. I will.
Nice.
He was like, it's just because it's awful for obviously multiple reasons. Like, you're even taken away, obviously, the most, divorce because of a domestic violence situation, which is like using that is just so egregious. But then it's just the same tired tropes of how women are booked, and we're supposed to be evolving past that. We're heading into Evolution 2, even though we waited 6 years between shows because, as Garrett pointed out, Paul Levesque said the fans will determine if we have another one. So, of course, blaming it all on the fans, just like this one. Fans don't buy tickets to this one. They're going to blame the fans for that. Well, the fans didn't buy tickets. So we gave them a whole 7 weeks to plan to get to Atlanta. And so if it fails, it fails. Not,
with no announced matches for those fans to even look forward to.
Right. Exactly. And so, yeah, it was just, I was livid.
They can't help themselves. When I watched it, and I saw people talking about it, but I caught the clip of it is really what happened. And honestly, it was funny because your article was one of the first things that aggregated to my timeline. So it was like, what? And so I pressed the button and I listened to it, and I was just like, this is exactly why I don't watch this. And what year is this? Is this last night? Like, it was really depressing.
Right.
But it's like, what is so silly about it? It's like, oh, it's a new regime and Hunter's here and it's all great. No, it isn't. It's the same thing. It's the same product with the same tired tropes, with the same, just, it's not even not clever. It's just old school. You're like not catching up to progress with anything. Like all the other things in the world, even old crotchety white guys are being like, we're going to have to start a streaming service. And you're still out here like, well, I got a man and you don't. What? Yeah. And in this economy.
And again,
just.
Right. Well, then on top of this, that's what I keep talking about with Liv Morgan. Like, she's in the Dominic around her relationship with him. Her entire title reign was obviously, again, it was under the guise of she's taking everything from Rhea, but then the focus became it's nothing. The most important thing to her is just being around Dom. Like, she barely defended the title; it was a prop. Her tag team title is a prop, and so I was like, it's the same thing. It's you're taking successful women and you're stripping, and who have both been champions, and you're stripping that away from them and making the most important thing about them whether they have a man or not, which is insane to do in 2025, especially when you're building an all women's pay-per-view. You're building a story off of that. It's as I said,
it kind of came off as a classic Vince written show. He was pissed off about the Ron Killings thing. He was pissed off about he needed Nikki Bella to come in and make a point about the women's evolution, and they thought that was clever. Like, it was just what John was saying, is that where these people legitimately think they're fooling us. This was a classic case of these people legitimately think they're fooling us, and they are absolutely not fooling us with this.
Yes, and it's just it's bottled. First of all, just to reach in and say something like that, but it's also so fucking lazy. In 6 years, you can't come up with anything better for Nikki Bella. You can't come up, and I know it's tired and falling into the same tropes of basically everything about the Diva era and making it. But I mean, they've done it. They've always done this with women's wrestling, where the storyline is about a man, or women have to be catty, or they can't get along. It always has to be things like that, and it's so gross, and it's so fucking lazy. Like, it's
lazy.
It's
lazy.
It's so lazy.
It is lazy.
Like, it's beyond being just gross. It's so lazy.
They literally just it sounded like they just like went into their digital records from like a 2011 or like 2006 show, and we're like, oh, here's a Nikki Bella promo updated a little. Here you go.
Right. Let's make it a little bit. Let's put it in 2025. And Nikki said, hold on. There's the comment, because again, I don't generally read comments on my articles that Nikki saw it on Twitter. Somebody told me, they called me a fucking moron because it's heel work. But who taught you that that's heel work? Who's the fucking moron? You're the one who is defending shitty writing because it's what you've been spoon-fed for 40 fucking years. And Vince makes you think that that's heel work. No, it's laziness. That's all that is. It's not heel work. It's bottom of the barrel bullshit. It's lazy. Let me a fucking moron to feel better about yourself because
it was crap in the
believe
it was
that,
crap
then
in the late
I-
90s when you were doing it, and it's still crap now.
that right. Yeah. It's just one of the because I make beats that WWE can't do a women's feud without involving a man or a title, and that's title like I get at least that makes some sense. But yeah, apart from Jade, Naomi, and Bianca, which is one of their shockingly one of their best stories, that the best women's story they're telling right now,
because
and
they made it
Naomi
about like the best athlete and not about like
right. And they made it about friendship. Naomi was jealous of Bianca and Jade's relationship, and she was getting pushed out, and so she did something about it. Was it the right thing to do, putting Jade through a car windshield? No. Kind of like, breaking into someone's house and talking to their toddler, and your house gets set on fire because of it.
Right.
Like,
her actions have consequences.
Curry had said, right. Curry had said, you might not like the time only storm, it's organic and original. Mercedes is original and great storytelling. Yes, AEW does do some sex appeal, but at least they have good stories and action. And I think one of the differences, the sex appeal from AEW comes from the women themselves. They are the ones in charge of what they are doing. They are in charge of their bodily autonomy. They are not being forced by some creepy old man who is living out fantasies through the women that he employs. These are the women making these choices themselves. And that's a huge difference from what is happening when the other company, or not the other company. I'm sure, TNA probably does some of this stuff too. And it happens more often because WWE was on our TVs for decades. And so people think wrestling has to follow that, and it can only be that. So you do have creepy men and other, in indie wrestling doing these things as well. But and their talent, their women are way more talented than to be doing bullshit like that. Because like I make beats says, the division's about to step up with Jordan Grace. Pissed me off. And a real man Booker T with a devil's kiss. I did not hear the quote. I heard that he was being gross about the devil's kiss, which is unsurprising, but Jesus Christ. Yeah, I make beats says I'm a big wrestling fan. It pisses me off. That's why I can't fault the run of my CEO, Big Merc. That's what I'm talking about. And she actually, Mercedes was, or not Mercedes, Lyric was talking about something that I had not considered before, but now that she has, I can see it more. She was talking about how like she's not thrilled with some of the booking decisions they've done with Tony and Mercedes, but she was like, they are going through the 7 deadly sins. She's gluttonous. She is, she's feeding in on the gluttony by she's feeding herself. She's gluttonous because she keeps collecting titles. Where you have Tony, who is lust. Attractive women make her, that's her weakness is attractive women. And so Tony or Mercedes played into that the other day, rubbing her face against hers and like whispering something in her ear before. And so she's like, she played into it, and she's like, and then they have, there's jealousy because between they both want to be the top woman. And, Tony said, I only need just playing on the 7 deadly sins, which I'd not really thought about before, but now that I can see it now with this type of stuff. And so I think that's just a fun way. And I'd like to see and now that I recognize it, I kind of want to see what else I can notice that they're doing with the two of them and how that will probably be one of their downfalls is one of these sins because Mercedes is just, she wants more and more and more. And Tony is getting distracted by hot women. And so one of these big sins is going to be their downfall, which is a really interesting way to do this. And it's a really interesting theory. I assume it's on purpose, but now that Lyric pointed it out, I was like, oh, you know what? Now I see it. Now I can see what's happening here. And I think it's really cool, the way that they're telling that story. Yeah, LaRon says that I don't like the build of Tony Mercedes feud at all. It seems like they've pulled this feud off considerably since their first encounter. I still feel like this was not the match to have it all in. Like, I love Tony and Mercedes, but I still think it should have been Mercedes and Athena. That should have been the match. That should be what we were getting. And I don't know what they would have done. Obviously, Tony is going in a different direction than, obviously Mariah was her foil. And where do you go with that now that, Mariah is gone and they've had these other things, but it just feels like, they've made some interesting decisions as far as building this, but it just feels like this was not the match that it was supposed. I feel like I don't know. I know it's because I really wanted Mercedes and Athena. And I think Mercedes and Tony is going to be good. And I think it's a great match. This is not the time, like, All In is not. I mean, yes, on the big stage, of course, yes, it is the big match. But they are not booking this in a way to make it headline. And I don't know that they will. I wouldn't be surprised if they do a triple main event and then have it be Mercedes and Tony, Hangman and Jon Moxley, and then close with Omega Okada. But regardless, Omega Okada, I think, closes, and we'll get to that angle shortly. But I don't know. I think the match will deliver. I think they're going to be phenomenal. But I just feel like, and we've got 4-ish weeks now to finish building this. But yeah, Laurent says, I agree. It should have been Mercedes and Athena and Tony and Jamie for All In. And I hate that they burned the match on the pay-per-view where it won't main event. And what's Jamie since Tekla took her out? I don't know if Jamie was written off because she's legitimately needing time off, or perhaps they're keeping her off Jamie. They're keeping Jamie off TV for a reason. Perhaps she gets involved in the main event. Who knows? But Tekla is. Maybe that's the point. Tekla's just that dangerous that she took Jamie out, and now Jamie's gone. So I don't know. Crash TV says, Tony thinking in terms of name recognition, just taking a safe promotional / marketing perspective to write the All-In card, not a storyline one. Right, but they waited to announce Omega Okada. Like, even though they've been teasing it since way back in, what was that, January or February, they waited to announce it 5 weeks since then. But, like, why did you wait so long to announce that one when it's interesting. But definitely, I guess you're right that it is more of a name thing. Yeah, and he said he loves AEW, loves TK, but they drop the ball by not having the Hollywood ending main event. And I know that the some people's theory is because they knew Mariah was leaving. But regardless of whether she was leaving or not, you don't, for storyline purposes, for fan investment, it's still, the payoff should have been that was your women's main event. And you're also in year 6, so now you should have already had women's main event in your pay-per-views a long time ago, but now you're getting to the point where, like, you should have done it then, and now at your biggest show of the year, you haven't built up a story that the women can be the main event of this card. And so, I think maybe it was you that mentioned perhaps they do it at the women main event at All Out.
Yeah,
because that's also a big step. Go ahead.
It gives them a chance to do. Did they move that one? Is that the one they moved?
No, it's still Labor Day weekend.
But did they move it to a different venue, or is it? No, it was Arizona.
I don't think they've announced for all. Have they announced for? Wait, which one is the one in Toronto? Is All Out Toronto?
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think All Out's going to be in Toronto. So, because they moved it from Chicago to Toronto, I think, this year. That's right.
Yeah. That's the Toronto show. And yes,
okay.
It is.
They're going back to the Scotiabank Center where they had Forbidden Door 2, which is where we saw the thing.
Right.
So it would make sense.
Actually, so no, they did move the date. It's September 20th.
Okay. So it's
they
off
did
of,
right?
Yeah. So, I mean, it's possible because maybe the Canadian, I mean, maybe that is for the Canada main event that they could move it off to All Out in Canada, and they moved it. Yeah. So, I mean, it's possible that they moved the women's main. And the only reason I say that is because this is their first stadium show in the US, and they absolutely have to sell as many tickets as possible, if not sell out. And while I don't know if what, but I do know that Okada Omega is what's going to sell that out more than just about any other match that you can think of. And I think that that's just the way that ends up rolling out. Should the women have main evented by now? Probably. And there's certainly times than they should have, and there were opportunities. I obviously don't think it's going to be this show, even though it's this big, huge deal. But I do think that maybe All Out would be the next most logical step. I mean, they should probably do it before the year's out.
I think you're right. I think All Out makes a ton of sense. And you're looking at match-wise, taking away the build of everything and looking at these three matches where you have Tony and Mercedes, Jon Moxley and Hangman Page, and then Omega Okada. Omega Okada is the biggest match of the three. And I don't say that as in Mercedes and Tony is not big enough and should not. I mean, they should absolutely main event. That match should main event a show. But then I guess it still goes back to the build. They take away the build. But like, I just feel like because Omega Okada 5 is such a huge feud that a lot of AEW fans have followed. But we say that as people who watch New Japan. For people who are AEW fans only, to them, maybe it's not the main event for them. It's not a big enough match to main event for them because they don't know that story outside of the package that they were just shown last week. So perhaps I'm saying that as somebody who watches both companies and who watched all four matches, and it's my favorite series. So maybe I am biased in saying that Omega Okada 5 is the biggest match that you can have. But maybe from an AEW fan perspective who didn't watch New Japan, maybe to them it is Tony and Mercedes, regardless of the build. But then
or Hangman,
I saw in a clip
or Hangman and Mox.
Garrett made a point. I agree with John LaRocca that Omega Okada should be the main event, but he made a point that Hangman, if Hanger is defeating Jon Moxley, then that should be your main event because you have the Death Riders, who have been the big heel faction for a number of months. You have it go off air with Hangman finally climbing the top of the mountain and defeating Death Riders. If he gets outside help, they come, all the baby faces stand together at the end of the pay-per-view. But he's like, but if Jon Moxley is winning, then maybe you don't make it the main event. And he was like, so, but I mean, I guess, that is a good point of, that's a good reason to have the main event. But I still think that even without this title unification match, I still feel like the big match is Omega Okada. But
probably,
again, I'm also looking at it as from a perspective of those are two of my favorite wrestlers. I love that feud. Omega Okada 1 is probably my favorite wrestling match of all time, so I know that I'm very biased. So I guess it just depends that you could have 3 potential main events, but then the build for them, I mean, they are just now getting to the build of Omega Okada 4 or 5 weeks before the show. And so, which is what I was just complaining about with the other company. And so, but I guess now, since before we get into the Omega Okada thing that happened, do you want to briefly take it back to WWE just long enough, because we were talking about her in the chat, or we were talking about her. Mariah May, we now know what her name is. She had a cute little, I didn't watch the show, but I watched the vignette. It was a cute little vignette. Definitely very Sabrina Carpenter inspired. She was making, her name is Blake Monroe. Blake is tribute to her niece. who she is very close to, and then Monroe obviously is is from Marilyn Monroe, and then she will be on Tuesday. She is signing her contract. I think it's a contract signing, or I believe is what she's doing on Tuesday. They would belt her at Evolution 2. It definitely seems that's where they're doing it. That JC Jane was just a transitional champion, and I assume she's going to win. But I thought her video was cute. Some people, I saw some complaints saying that she was ripping off the Timeless Tony character. I don't think, maybe the only thing is perhaps the shoes, but because obviously the watch out for the shoes, but also if you're a person who's into fashion like Mariah's character, because she's still the glamour. That's what she's been since she's in Stardom. Cute shoes are part of it. So I don't necessarily see that as her taking anything. And people, I guess, were surprised that she is still doing the glamour character in WWE, but I don't understand why they would be surprised by that, because she did it in Stardom. She did it. I mean, she is the glamour like that. I don't see, I think the character, of course, she would be a continuation of what she was doing before. I don't understand that. There's apparently they're like, oh, she's just taking her age gimmick. Well, was her Stardom gimmick? Why are we? And they were, I don't see. Yeah, I don't see what the issue is. I was like, she's just leave her be. I took some screenshots, and I meant to get them together to post on here so that I could show them, but then I forgot. I've got 2 of them on my phone, but then also I knew we would have the presentation for them. From John, and so I had forgotten to take them. So when I saw she has this at the end, they showed this cute little what are they called? It was a graphic, but the little nameplate. It was like a little cartoon drawing of Mariah, and then it said Blake Monroe, and I immediately thought of Anna Nicole Smith when they did the Anna Nicole show, and she had the cute. There was the little drawings of her, and a few people got there, but then somebody they were like, it's the also. Look at it reminded them of Bewitched, which also definitely, because the Bewitched had the animated drawing at the beginning, and so so I was going to show pictures of what I was talking about and then some people, and then obviously the Sabrina Carpenter, apparently on her tour, there's a little cartoon drawing of her, so it definitely seems like she's definitely pulling Sabrina Carpenter influence for sure. But then I was like, I don't know if it was on purpose, but I definitely reminded me of Anna Nicole. But I was like, since I didn't end up remembering to put it on the screen, I was like, I will tweet them later so that you can see what they can talk about, or what I'm talking about. But I thought her presentation, I liked it. I thought it was cute. It's very Mariah May or Blake. It's a continuation of what I expected from her. I didn't expect this huge gimmick from her. I think it's on brand for what WWE probably brought her in to do. And so I hope that she's happy. She decided to go somewhere else. I mean, that's stupid. It's just dumb. And then, Nikki said the same thing, that Ricky and Jade are literally the same. Jade got to keep her name. Ricky did change his last name, but still, he's the same. Ethan Page is pretty much the same. He's a heel over there. He's doing the heel stuff that he did before, with Men of the Year. Ethan Page is still a heel, so I don't know why they're
looking for shit to bitch about.
Yeah, it's because Ethan Page is the GOAT. Yeah, Jordan Grace kept her name. She negotiated to keep. Well, so I think Fernando. I think there's a couple different reasons that why they got to keep it. I think that in some cases, because now you can negotiate your name. Sometimes you negotiate, and WWE gets they get the rights to your name. And sometimes you can negotiate where they don't, Keith Lee would not allow them to have his name. He was like, He's like, that's my name. So it kind of depends, but I think also Mariah May is legitimately her real first and last name. So I think she was just like, you're not getting it. That's mine. Because if she leaves, then, that's her name. That's her real first and last name. I mean, her first and middle name is Mariah May. And so I think that's part of it. Some people made the point that perhaps she is also a new name. So because WWE doesn't want an aide, they don't want, she created her, she became a star in America. I mean, obviously, there are people in America who saw her in Stardom, but she became a star in AEW, and they don't want that association with her, and so maybe some people think maybe they chose for her to go by a different name, but I assume it's just because Mariah May is her legitimate name, and she didn't want them having any type of trademarking or any type of rights to it, and it was just like, I'll go by a completely different name, because if she does leave and go back to AEW, or she goes to Stardom, or she goes to Marigold, or wherever else, she can go back to being Mariah May. Just like if Ricky Starks leaves, or Ricky Saints, if he leaves, he can be Ricky Starks wherever he wants to. And the same with, and so I think it comes down to just who owns, but you can, and now they can negotiate.
Yeah, the only crap part about it is that unfortunately there was also a porn star back in the 90s who was called Blake Monroe, and that's oops. A fairly well-known one from what I'm told.
I guess she didn't trademark that name, because
I guess not.
WWE has it, and I assume that she owns. They probably trademarked that. Yeah, WWE can't own the Mariah May IP if it's the real name, right? It is legitimate. It's not Ethan Page's real name. It's his wrestling name. His real name is Julian. And so, like, he owns, but I believe Ethan owns that. Whereas then Jordan Grace is not her real name either. But I believe Jordan Grace owns, like, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Jordan Grace owns her name. Like, and I believe the same thing with Ethan Page. I believe they both own the trademarks to those names, and so it's in their contract, like that they, that it's theirs, and because they've already trademarked it before coming in. This is why you should be trademarking your shit.
Bruiser Brody did it way back in the day before anybody thought about it. So fair play to him.
And there's a guy that AEW uses, and people, I see him pop up my timeline all the time of AEW wrestlers who are trademarking their stuff, because they know that what happens, like, they don't want any company to own it. They want to own their creation, which is the smart thing to do. And so good for her for, he said, if, like Crash TV said, it's her real name. So that is why. But yeah, so I hope Mariah is happy. Blake, I hope that she's happy there and she succeeds, and AEW will succeed and do their own thing, because that's how competition works, and that's how this business works. They go back and forth. I mean, they used to do it all the time in the 90s. Wrestlers were going back and forth between WWE and WCW. That's what was happening back then. Charles was stupid. McBeast said there's a Twitter post with all the Sabrina references, and it's literally shot for shot the same. If you think it's Tony Storm, then you're the moron. Yeah, I saw. Yeah, because I know the tweet that you're talking about, because I saw it too, and I was like, that makes perfect sense, especially because Sabrina is one of the biggest pop stars in the world right now, and so it makes sense that a wrestler would latch onto that and use some of the same things, and Mariah is the perfect person to do that, because they have a similar look and a similar style, and it fits everything Sabrina does fits with the glamour persona, and I think I think she'll be successful, at least for we'll see what happens when she gets to the main roster and how they book these women, but make beats that I'm not on Twitter, but I have a guy. There you go. But yeah, so that's been the WWE portion of the show. We'll move back over to, sorry to keep switching back and forth on you, but now we'll move into, I guess it's time to move into we'll stick with the women's wrestling before we get to Okada Callis. We'll stick with the women shortly, because while we were off, AEW had a 4-hour Fighter Fest, and on that 4-hour show between AEW and Collision, of those 4 hours, about 13 minutes of in-ring time went to women, and the internet was not happy. And I'm glad that they were not happy. I'm glad that they were posting on social media about their displeasure and how it was not right, and how the women deserved better, because I saw it from lots and lots of people that they did, because they should, because 13 minutes is ridiculous, and 4 hours of TV already bad. We already complain about one women's match on Dynamite 99% of the time. Like quarterly, we'll get two women's matches. Collision typically has two. And so to see them get that, and then they were, even with the on-screen stuff that they did, like they brought like Ty Mello returned, and they did like a couple little, they did me and Mercedes. So that added on like maybe 2 or 3 minutes. But Collision got 13 minutes, which is unacceptable. And it's sad and it's pathetic. And so I had a feeling that Tony would course correct, because, you know, that man changed Mina Shirakawa's song before and after a match because people didn't like it, and he immediately changed it back before the match ended. He changed it back to the old one. So he's online. We know Tony Khan is online. And sometimes he will listen to the fans and sometimes he doesn't, but I guess he really understood that people were really pissed. So for Summer Blockbuster and the 4 hours, they did course correct a bit. They had 3 women's matches on Collision. One of those matches was in it, and I believe Willow got the pin, if I am not mistaken. So he made sure to course correct heavily. And I think altogether, wrestling, like in ring time, not counting, they did do some more backstage stuff and like some other stuff. I believe in ring time was roughly 34 minutes, which still in a 4-hour show, not great, but still better than 13. And they utilized the women better as far as what they were doing, storytelling wise, building us towards All In. And Anna Jay in a tag match against Megan Bain and Penelope Ford. So we have, you know, that story. They do seem to still kind of be putting the feelers out there for a tag team division, kind of seeing who works together and who didn't. Ty and Anna, obviously, they used to be a tag team. They wrestled in tag matches often prior to, and so Harley Cameron is she had an injury on TV, but the injury spot was planned to take her off of TV. So while she's off TV, they've got Mello back in the picture. Did some more stuff with Mercedes and Tony. They did the backstage. Actually, no, that was the week before. They did the segment with or that we got Tekla versus Queen Aminata, which had an interesting. So when it happened, I didn't realize what Queen Aminata did at the end of the match until I saw the tweets about it. And then yesterday, Garrett asked me if we were going to talk about it. So we're going to talk about it.
Okay.
So Queen Aminata wrestled Tekla, basically dominated the entire match. And Tekla had to overcome her to win. And after she put her in the death trap and the bell rang, Queen Aminata peaced out, just quickly rolled out of the ring and walked to the back. And I did see her and so like I didn't realize that at the time because I was covering Collision, so I wasn't really paying attention to that part because I was writing what was happening, and so I didn't even catch it. And then I did see Queen Aminata tweet later, "Oh, I had a red eye to catch. What did you guys think of my match?" And I didn't really think about what she said because I wasn't really thinking about it. And then I realized it's because people wondered why she got out of the ring so fast. So her explanation is that she had a flight to catch. But some people think it might be frustration in her booking because Queen Aminata is clearly really, really talented, but they're not booking her that way. They book her to lose a lot. They book her like she was Mariah's first match. So she puts over the new women that they're going to build into stars, yet they just leave her there. And her booking at the time she wrestled Mariah was not great. And then we had seen her featured on Collision a lot, and she wasn't. And whenever this damn ROH Pure tournament starts, she will be in it. But they just, I don't know if it was just frustration from the way because she's being used as, we know that you're good enough to or not. So you're just gonna take these L's, but you're gonna make them look good and put them over. And so I don't know if there was frustration there or what is happening, but it was a very interesting situation.
I'm not sure. I know that Tekla is incredibly talented and that they haven't barely touched the surface of using her the way that they should. And I know that they're trying to get her over as well. I don't know if this was good for either of them, to be perfectly frank. I'm not sure that this was the right match for either lady. If you're trying to make Tekla a big star, you probably want to use other women that have been on AEW television just a little bit more than Aminata. And if you want to make Aminata bigger, you probably want to use another woman that's also been on AEW television more, since she's mostly an ROH wrestler. Yeah, so I don't know if putting the two of them in a match together would have been, I mean, maybe if you had more matches, you have Aminata wrestle somebody else and you have Tekla wrestle somebody else, and
yeah.
It's just, well,
I'll put, yeah, Laurent says Queen Aminata should be upset with her booking because she keeps getting booked to lose the people she's clearly better than. And see, that was like, so at first when I saw Aminata challenge Tekla, I was like, that's going to be a really good match. And again, I have very little, but I know that that's somebody that, you know, Tekla can go. Tekla's she was a big star before she came to AEW. And so originally I was like, oh, you know, this is going to be a good match, but how do you do this? Because Queen Aminata can't really afford to lose, but you're not going to have Tekla lose her second match. I didn't expect Aminata to get in so much offense. And again, she dominated that match. She looked incredible. And I guess there are women in AEW who are just as good as her. And so she came to the right place. This is this is a very strong division. And we're going to book it that way. But then on the other hand, like Queen Aminata keeps getting put in these positions where she should be winning more matches than she is on, because she was heavily featured on Collision for even back in March before she got injured. She was wrestling Serena Deeb and they were having these really great matches. So back in like the spring before she got injured, she was having great matches. And then so you're bringing her in to make Tekla look good and make Tekla look like, oh, can Tekla beat this woman? Because she's, you know, that's a really solid opponent for her. But then, and I agree, like, and Lady Frost is a very, very good wrestler. And they had Tekla beat her faster than I thought. And they didn't let Lady Frost didn't get in as much offense as I would have liked to have seen. But I know that they're also trying to establish Tekla. Right. So I think Queen Aminata is a good opponent for her, but maybe not for her second match. They should have held this off a little bit for because fans know Queen Aminata, especially those who watch Collision. Queen Aminata is on there she's on there frequently enough that they're familiar with her and they know that she's good. So you see Tekla and then you see her dominate Tekla in that match and you're like, well, why did Tekla win that? Because Queen Aminata, like, she probably should have won it, but then, you know, I guess it also just shows that, you know, Tekla had to get smart to win. And then unfortunately, you have Queen Aminata rolling out of the ring, and some people took that as Queen Aminata not selling for her, but she did take the pin and she waited, and then once it was over, she rolled out. But not the greatest look. I'm not blaming Queen Aminata at all, but it's not. I don't know that was the move. They probably should have saved Queen Aminata and Tekla for, you know, after Tekla had maybe 10 or 15 matches in AEW. Then maybe you bring that up and you can kind of see like, oh, we're familiar with Tekla now, but now you have this new woman coming in and, you know, she barely beats Queen Aminata, which I guess is good on the one hand because it makes Aminata look
they're
strong.
trying to make the strength and the overcoming and the whole thing,
right?
And
of
that
course.
Stuff. So she was able to squeak it out, even though she looked like she was struggling. And
so I don't know that I necessarily blame her either.
I don't know. I don't know if that was the best booking choice. What I think
they put her.
Everybody's argument kind of comes down to the same premise, which is that probably wasn't the best booked match that they could have come up with for either lady now.
And you know, Crash
maybe later, maybe not.
Yeah, and Crash says Aminata looked like she brought a lot of real life frustration into that match. She pretty much squashed Tekla. Not sure if that was the plan. And I don't know if there's frustration on her part because, like I said, you keep bringing her in to face these new stars, but you put them over, but you're making her in the position where she has to make them look good and they have to beat her when Queen Aminata could beat, Mariah May and Tekla. And that's not to take anything away from Mariah and Tekla because they're both great wrestlers too, but so is Queen Aminata. And so I don't think, you could have done a double count out there. Maybe you don't want to do that in Tekla's second match, but if you had saved this match further down the line, you could have done that there. Laurent says, I could see Queen Aminata leaving for NXT when her deal is up. She's too good to be where she is on the card. And I have heard rumors that I would not. I don't know what her deal is. I don't know how long her deal is, but I don't think I would be surprised if she left either. Crash says, Lady Frost comes across like a developmental trainer for pushing talent like CD and Matt Sydal. The Aminata situation is different. And Frost is too good to lose the way she did last week. Yeah, I was a little annoyed by that. Because I felt like you're putting Tekla in the ring with really good talent, and I know AEW's booking of Lady Frost doesn't reflect that because of the way they do book her. But she's been in CMLL racking up wins, and then you have her come back. You barely put her on TV, then you have her come back and she loses to Tekla. And again, Tekla is a good Lady Frost was the correct person to do that with, but then I don't know. It's just really I don't know what. But then who do you book her against? But they kind of you see how they did Megan Bayne when Megan Bayne first came in. She was just squashing people left and right, but that's Megan Bayne's deal. She's I guess she should be squashing people, and I guess you don't want to have Tekla doing the exact same thing. But I don't think that Aminata was I don't think that was I don't think they should have put her in as her second match. That should have been a match down the road for her. And that's the way. I mean, maybe just do one of the ROH girls there in some of these matches. I don't know where. Yeah, I feel bad for Queen Aminata. And Crash says, I agree, Sam. It's a difficult situation for Aminata, but lots of other talent are just as good and they're getting zero ring time. Yeah, the fact that Aminata is getting on air regularly suggests that they think highly of her. It's a bit of a time and luck of waiting for your opportunity. Hopefully it will come. And I kind of thought that too when I saw that Aminata was in this match with Tekla. Well, clearly they think Aminata is on Tekla's level enough that they can have a good match, which they did have a good match, but it was Aminata dominating that match. And she just, I guess basically she got outsmarted for the win, which happens in wrestling. And I don't know, it feels like that was not the right way to go about it. And I hope that, I don't know when this damn tournament is supposed to be starting for ROH. I haven't gotten to this week's show yet. As far as I know, they haven't announced when this tournament is starting. I thought it would have started by now and that we would be crowning the winner at Supercard the night before All In, but they haven't even started the damn tournament. So I don't know what is happening. And clearly Athena she's not been on AEW television. She and Billy are wrestling Thunder Rosa and Persephone in Mexico, but I believe that's the ROH Global Wars show, not Dynamite. And as of right now, the Global Wars show, you have to be a subscriber to CMLL's channel to be able to watch the Global Wars. I assume those matches will eventually make it over to Honor Club, but now you're having to subscribe to another thing to watch. To watch a Athena match, if that's where it is. And so, I even said, Fernando, when they were booking her a bit more often, that Queen Aminata should be the one to, if they're not going to have Billy dethrone Athena, that I would have Queen Aminata do it. Because I think Queen Aminata is that strong of a wrestler, but the booking has been, it's fallen. And I know some of it, she was injured. She was out 5 weeks, I think, when she injured her hand. Or it was a wrist, I think, that she injured. But I would have had, if it wasn't going to be Billy, I'd have Queen Aminata take the ROH title off of her. Because I think, and then you automatically build your next person to take Athena. I mean, nobody's going to replace Athena because Athena is Athena, but you have to, that's a really big shoes to fill. And we're at, yesterday, I believe she was at 917 days as champion. Who is going to follow that and follow what she has done for the ROH women's division under Tony? But they're not booking. The women's division there has kind of fallen apart because he's busy with other things, and we've talked about this a million times. But Queen Aminata is an excellent, I think, would be, you could build her up, you could put her over to be the one to dethrone Athena is huge, and you start off the next title reign on somebody like that if it's not going to be Billy. But yeah, I don't know what we're doing here, as I often say about AEW. And yeah, they did have, or I'm sorry, ROH, they did have a good match, but yeah, the booking did seem odd, and it's not, if it's not part of a long-term program. Tekla's only just debuted. Yeah, I don't know where we're going here. I don't know if Tony knows where we're going. I don't know if he's just like, hey, Tekla would be, I want to see Tekla. It's almost like he's fantasy booking, like, hey, you know who would be a really cool match for opponent for Tekla? Like Queen Aminata. Let's do that on the big 4-hour show.
Right.
He's like, what it seems like he's doing here, but so there's that. So we did at least get some course correction with the women here. So yay. But we can do more, and we shouldn't have to yell at you to make you give the women 34 minutes of in-ring time on a 4-hour show. Like, you should already be doing that without the fans yelling at you.
Maybe they'll figure that out one day.
Yes, Athena does need something for her hometown. I'm going to be mad if she's only... not that Supercard isn't great, but Supercard is not even at... Supercard, if I remember correctly, their final battle was last year, and East Sports Arenas, where they did the residency last year on ROH and AEW, and it's a great venue, but like, I need Athena to wrestle Globe Life Stadium. I need that to happen, especially because you teased it and then you took it away from me.
Jerk.
All right. Yes. So, big story that we have hinted at and gone away from and have come back to is now Kazuchika Okada and Kenny Omega. While we were off, they made that official finally. We're getting a Okada Omega 5. We are also going to be combining the titles, and I forget, what did they say the title was going to be called?
It's going to be an Intercontinental.
It is going to be, it's going to just be Intercontinental.
I'm pretty sure they said Intercontinental. I'm pretty
okay.
Or International Continental, but that's the same thing.
Why would you call it international? Yeah, that's redundant.
So
anyway, the belt looks nice. I like it. I think it looks cool. It looks like a kind of, it reminds me of a New Japan title. Kind of
unified title. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Okay. Unified.
That sounds better.
Right? Is that what we're just calling it? The unified title? We're not even okay.
Sure, why not?
Okay.
Unified championship.
This is giving when Kota Ibushi unified titles and everybody hated it.
That's all I could think of, but yeah. But you know, in a lot of ways, I feel like even some of the people in our chat have been calling this for a while. So congratulations, Power Bombshells watchers. You are just as smart as Sam.
AEW Global Heavyweight, but not.
Global Heavyweight. In the Universal Championship.
But not. Korean said, yeah. USWA 1993. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I like the title. I think it looks nice. But when I was looking at it, like this whole situation, I was like, Eddie Kingston's probably like, what did you do to my title? That title was created for him to be.
Unless he's coming back to fight for it.
Maybe so. He's coming back to, because he's clearly not coming to fight Gabe Kidd.
Clearly.
The Forbidden Door clearly is not happening. And apparently Gabe Kidd is, a lot of people think Gabe Kidd has lost some steps. A, in part to AEW, that random booking, and also B, just he seems, I think some people say, uninspired, and I guess they think he is not the, he's not the Gabe they thought he was. So apparently, yeah, so apparently he's having an identity crisis. Fans aren't quite sure how to react to him, especially the whole FAW thing, even though Death Riders are also FAW. So
that's too bad.
But yeah, so we're getting this match. Go ahead.
Oh, it's too bad because of all the build that went into that, and I know there's some adversity there, so that's suck.
Yeah. So yeah, he seemed he was like the big thing that everybody was really excited about, and then he's kind of stumbled some. Some people said they're just, they'll give him the booking. Some of it say it's the AEW stuff. Some of it says maybe he's not ready for the spot that they thought he was ready for. So it'll be, that's more of a conversation probably for speaking of strong style. So Renee posted this video of Nora the day before her 4th birthday. They were making a cake, and Nora said, "This is fucking beautiful," or something like that. And it was just really funny because Renee stopped talking when she heard the coming, and it was so. Nikki and I have been saying it all weekend. Everything has been fucking. So, you did pop me. Thank you for that. And people were like, "That's John Moxley's child." No, I think that's also Renee. That's Renee's child. Might be a word that she says often. Yes, she does say fucking cake. Great. If you have Instagram, go to Renee's page and go to her timeline because it's in there and it's hilarious.
I saw the little clip, but I didn't realize she had sworn in the clip. That's funny. I got we watched the AEW with Rhino, RJ City, and Rhino was such a good sport about it. He was fantastic. RJ City, oh my god, it's funny.
Love that guy.
We watched a couple, but we definitely had to watch that one. And Rhino was very much into it. He was not one of the ones that's weirded out by it. He was a very good sport about it. It was a lot of fun. I recommend it.
I saw the clip today of one with Josh Alexander. I was like, RJ, but I was like, clearly Josh is comfortable enough with RJ to let him say the things that he said. So, go back to the early episodes and you watch the one with Eddie Kingston. It's so funny because this is only like 5 or 6 episodes in. Nobody really knows what AEW is at this point, and Eddie being Eddie, Eddie was having a time, but he was not thrilled with some of the stuff that are like he did get mad, but I highly recommend going to watch the AEW with Eddie Kingston because it's really funny.
For Rhino, it was right up his alley, so it was wonderful.
Right.
It was fantastic.
I bet it was really good.
Because he was like, Rhino actually was like to the point where Rhino was legitimately enjoying it and even complimented him at the end. It was really fun because he was just like, of all basically it was one of these of all the interviews I've had, this has definitely been the most interesting and the most fun. And it was like, dang.
Nice.
So it was, it's
good.
If you
I'm glad
had
he was
a
a good
good
sport
time,
about
if you
it.
like AEW, if you're good with that, Rhino was one of the people who was like, I don't know what this is, but I'm going to totally roll with it. And that's the best version because those people are the best.
I'm glad he's a good sport about it.
Man,
it does make him more entertaining and a lot more fun when they're like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm going to go with it.
Oh, he was...
RJ is great.
Yeah.
He's so good at getting to people. Just like, I love him.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
He is great. So...
Anyway, sorry. Back to Okada. I just had to mention that since it did come up because Renee and RJ, they kind of blur together.
Got off ground with the Nora and Nikki.
Well, they're kind of besties in my mind. I just picture RJ City and Renee being besties for a weird reason, just because
they are. They were both at a wedding because I watch Renee's stories all the time, and they were at a wedding. I think it was I guess it's their talent. He's a talent agent, so I think he is Renee and RJ's and Harley Cameron was with them, and so they were at this wedding, and so they like went to dinner, and it was Renee, another friend, Harley, and RJ wasn't alive. And somebody said because she posted some stuff to her timeline, so I said, does RJ just follow you around? And she said, yes, it's in his contract. So it was great. But yes, back to obviously the very serious topic of Omega Okada and this very dramatic, interesting segment we got, which is guess if you think about it, it's pretty on brand for Kenny Omega. He likes to do dramatic things.
He sure does.
He got dramatic. So Okada, we get the Okada turn on Omega. Don Callis is behind it. There's questions on if Okada joined the Don Callis family or he is with the Elite. I get, obviously we'll hear more. My guess is Don Callis made him an offer and is compensating him, and he is not an official member. It is a I need you to beat Kenny Omega because he got this spot instead of Takeshita and or Kyle Fletcher, and after the 6 months that they both had, they should be in this match, not you. And for those of you who are not, I mean, I know they showed it in the package, but Okada and Omega and Don Callis had Don Callis has basically shaped Kenny Omega's entire career, starting back in Canada. They are extremely close, or were extremely close. And at the time of these matches with Okada, Callis was with Kenny Omega. He was on commentary for, I believe, 3 of the 4 matches. He cornered him in one of them. So you have to, the story needs Don Callis.
Oh, that's right. He screamed. I remember.
He did. Yes.
That was one of the times he screamed. There was that time and the time with Suzuki where he screamed and ran away like a girl.
Yes, when Suzuki. Yeah,
I mean, sorry to say that, but
who wouldn't scream?
As a girl, I say that as a girl, he was a bigger girl than me.
So, yeah, the scream. So, Don Callis you can't tell the story of Omega and Okada without Don Callis, unfortunately. True. He is a part of the story, and I just assumed, and I was actually talking to someone about it on Blue Sky. We just assumed Callis would be on commentary for the match because he's been on commentary for them. He's a big part of the storyline of Omega Okada, and you can't tell the story without him. This at first when it happened, I was annoyed, but then I was like, well, they have to have Don Callis involved somehow, and this makes sense. He turned on Omega, kicked him to the curb because Takeshita is hotter, he's younger, he's a better wrestler, he's going to make me more money, and so Takeshita is his guy, and Takeshita is not in this spot because of Omega. He feels like it should be Takeshita versus Okada, and that he should get the unified title, and then if it's not Takeshita, it should be Kyle Fletcher. And so it makes it come to some sort of an agreement with Okada to if you help me, we will help each other defeat Kenny Omega, and Omega is a huge problem for you. He's a problem for me. You'll get the United Championship out of it, and I will get Omega beaten for you. And this. So I feel like it's a deal. I don't think Okada is in the Don Callis family. I think they have worked out.
I don't think so either.
An arrangement, especially because of the Elite. They still have the friendship with Okada, and so I feel like that's how we're going about it. So what did you think about this segment, and what do you think about Don Callis? This is about them getting Don Callis in this way.
I mean, I think it makes the most sense to involve him on the side of Okada. Also, I know a lot of people are bummed about this, but Kenny is clearly the face in this. And for those of you who missed it or were not a part of the Okada series or heel Okada runs in the past, I know it's easy to not understand this, but trust me when I tell you that Okada makes just as good of a heel as he makes the face, if not sometimes a little funnier and better, because he really does. And so I think being with Don in this situation where you've got that outlier of you can't beat him without me, and now I'm on his side. Ooh, because we're in America and the tables are turned. And did you really beat him because you had a draw and you had a win? But can you do anything without him? And or without me? And certainly you can't do anything if I'm in his corner. And I think Okada, as a gamesman guy, is like, I don't need Don Callis, but I can certainly use him in this situation. This is very much, to me, it's
right,
very
right. Yeah,
people don't give Okada enough credit. He's not dumb. He could be playing Don Callis as much as Don Callis thinks he's playing Okada.
yes, Okada is very smart, and I know that we don't see that Okada often in AEW, and that's where some
he hasn't
people,
been here long enough. I don't think.
Okada, they think, because we often get house show Okada.
Yes.
House show Okada doesn't go, not that he's house show Okada is still Okada. Like, he's still a really good wrestler. He's still, and so we are not, like, I guess because Will Ospreay goes 150, he goes 150 miles an hour every single time he's out there with every single match. Okada did that with New Japan. He literally carried that company on his back, and I think
and neck, which is really messed up because of it.
Right, exactly. So I think the Elite were like, come over here, come to America, make really good money, get on TV. You don't have to carry the company on your back anymore. You don't have to do that here. You can wrestle some, and then you will turn into big match Okada at the pay-per-views. When you're here on TV, you don't have to do these things. You can be, and Okada's a really funny guy, and I think he gets to do a bit of his comedy stuff that he didn't really get to do. And again, bringing it back to Brokada, the Brokada version of him is one of my favorite versions of Okada. He was so much fun during that stretch of time, and I really enjoyed it. And so anytime that we get to see that version of him is fun.
I think it's weird to some people if they're not sure and they don't understand, because it's like, oh, everyone says he's the greatest wrestler in the world. He's acting goofy. It's like, yeah, he has actually a sense of humor. Him and the Bucks go way back. They used to steal. Yeah, too bad. They used to steal their equipment and like wear it around. I mean, yeah, he would wear their gear. Like, they would find him and he they even turned it into a BTE. They turned it into a BTE bit because he was doing it in real life, where he would take their stuff. Like, back when he was wrestling it, he was on Excursion and wrestling in TNA when they were there, and they were Generation B. Like, that's how far back they go. And like, I was reading something like a while back, like Okada lived with Alex Shelley when he was on Excursion. And like, and he was like, they would come back and they would watch like wrestling matches and stuff like that. So he's really close with Motor City as well, but he's very obviously he's very close with the Young Bucks. And so I think this is a real House Show Okada is T-shirt Naito. Yes. It's so weird though, because to a certain degree, isn't every wrestler at some point, like, they do their thing and they come, but at some point, like, everybody becomes like the Undertaker, or
I mean, I guess you could even say that about Shinsuke. Like, the way Shinsuke is
he's not some big star over there. He surfs and has a beautiful life in Florida that he loves, and he gets to go see his friends whenever he wants. Yeah. And he has a great life.
Yeah, he's happy. I mean, maybe he's not doing what he was doing in NXT, and maybe he's not doing what he was in New Japan. You know, obviously not doing what he was doing in Japan, but, you know, he seems to be, you know, happy with it. So...
I mean, it's one of those things where I'm like, yes, I get it. And yes, some people are just going to go nonstop, and during the breaks and the whole thing, Tranquilo Okada is very funny.
Yes.
But also at the same time, I think that you can't hold him to a different standard than you hold a whole bunch of other veteran wrestlers that have done the same thing, which is they show up for the pay-per-view. Not that Chris Jericho is a great example, but we pretty much get weekly Chris Jericho too, unless he's on a pay-per-view. So, and he decides he wants to do a ridiculous match that he's never done before. I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, and I get it. Like, and I understand fans' point of view. For people who didn't watch New Japan, they hear as one of the greatest wrestlers of all time. He's this, and then he comes to AEW, and he is not that, or he's not. At least not frequently enough where, again, like Will Ospreay is just on the go constantly, and you have to like tell this man, like, you need to dial it back a bit, Will. Where Okada can do both. He can do what he needs to do, and he has a good time with it. And then when it's time for a big, you know, match Okada or tournament Okada, then he knows how to turn turn it on, and I can understand, I guess, from an AEW fan perspective of somebody who didn't watch him. Like, you hear all these things, and this is the Okada you're given. So I can understand the frustration there. But for those of us who did watch him in New Japan, like, this is just house show Okada, and this is just he's doing what we expect, or he is T-shirt Naito, and he is Tranquilo Okada. And so, yeah, it'll be really interesting because so obviously Takeshita is going to be gone. He will be in G1. Does G1 end before All In? What is the date?
No, I think it starts after All In.
Is it? Hang on.
Or am I too far
I could be wrong. I think, and of course, I closed out
August, because it ends up around the same time as
it's July 12th is All In.
Right. Usually it starts a little later in July, and the only reason I know that is because usually the last weekend of G1 is also the last or second to last week of Fair, which is either the last week of September or the first.
They finished it right before Forbidden Door last year, right? I think they did.
That would make sense. I don't know if they announced if the dates were out as well as the brackets. Exactly.
Okay, I can't read that. Hold on. Let me.
I feel like it's mid to late July through the end of September.
The graphic is in Japanese, and so I can't read it.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. Why? Okay, so New Japan's website is. Okay, hold on. It's wanting me to. Wow. Okay. Yeah, because the graphics is in Japanese. So
I think it's after All In. I mean, it has to be after All In because it usually starts not right at the beginning of July, if I remember right.
Okay. Okay. So the play-in matchup, as we know, the first one is June 23rd. The second one is July 4th. Is when they're doing the play-in matches. This article from New Japan in English does not have to date.
They might not have them yet.
It's 20 feet. No, they announced the dates a while back. Okay. So they announced them. Hold on. Let me do this. This is what happens when you get live when we're live. We have to figure things out. Okay. It starts July 19th. So it starts the week after All In, and the finals go to August 17th. That would mean, so it will end before Forbidden Door. That's how it's been. That's how it ended last year. It ended like 2 weeks before Forbidden Door before not Forbidden Door, before All In, because All In had been obviously in late August and it was in London, and so it was 2 weeks before that. So it is still late. So then Takeshita, because at first I was talking to Josiah actually about that segment, and I was my concern with Omega Okada 5 is that Kyle and or Takeshita would get involved in the match, but then Josiah made the point that if it's contested under Continental rules, no one is allowed at ringside. I hope that's where we go with this. I would like to get a clean match between the two of them. However, with Don Callis on commentary, I'm sure he would try to get involved, but then I don't know how that would affect things. But so hopefully it is fall under Continental rules, which means that nobody from Don Callis' family can get involved with it. Hopefully they'll make it. Maybe they will do that because Omega bled very heavily. He bled very heavily the other night. It's very ridiculous. I wanted to use that picture of him on the floor with blood smeared on his face, but I thought YouTube would not allow us to use that. So I just went with that elbow drop onto the stretcher, which of course made all of the blood come gushing out like a horror movie. I was like, this is so traumatic and over the top, and so Kenny Omega.
Yeah, he's great. He kind of got me there for a second. Then I'm like, no, wait, stop. It's Kenny. It's Kenny.
Yeah, Kenny.
So, yeah.
Yes. And so I was like, it's interesting that I was like, I guess they're going to take him off TV for a bit, but I guess with Callis and Okada teaming up together. And so Crash makes a good point that, Okada versus Omega is big stakes, especially if it's a bust. Seems like it'll be a real pressure cooker, but I have faith that Kenny at least looked stupendous versus Gabe Kidd at Wrestle Kingdom back in January after taking nearly a year out and nearly dying too, but both are 40-ish as well, which is true. But I think that if anybody can deliver, it's these two. And then you also hopefully this is not the last of the two of them. I'm hoping we get more, but also we know with Omega's health, we don't know how long we have him. But I mean, of course, you could say that for any wrestler, but sometimes I wonder.
He's been open about that, so
right.
Even he said that I know that there's a day coming that I'm not going to be able to do this anymore, and I also want to be able to like live on my life,
right, and to do it at the level that you expect of one of the greatest wrestlers of all time.
Well, yeah, I mean, there's some people. It's like that if they can't go at the level they expect to perform at anymore, then they won't do it.
Right. And Kenny is, I feel like Kenny Omega is one of those people that he knows, like, clearly it's wrestling and retirements, and wrestlers are liars. We do know this. Brian Danielson likes to talk about how Cody taught him to lie. He loves to do it. So, of course, there is that. But also, I feel like Kenny Omega is smarter than most wrestlers in the fact that he knows when it's time, and he is not going to wrestle past anything that would jeopardize his legacy. I think that Kenny would just be like, I will be an EVP. I will stay in the back. I will do this. So I'm really looking forward to it. This build from the other night was really exciting. It is a bit more than they have put in with Tony and Mercedes, and also with Jon Moxley and Hangman, which they did do good segments with both of them. They are steadily building towards All In. I hope that match delivers. But looking at those three matches, like after the way that segment ended on Wednesday, just going by that, like if All In were next weekend, Omega Okada would have the main event.
Agreed.
I think. I know they kind of got to it really fast for people who don't have the background with their stuff in New Japan. And so maybe for those AEW fans, maybe we are kind of just jumping right into it. But and they did kind of do that, but I think they've been teasing it for a while, multiple different times, and so it makes sense. But if you're looking, like if that show was next week, then I would have Omega Okada main event just based off of those three segments that they did with Tony Mercedes, Jon Moxley, and Hangman. And then they also set up for they seem to have set up for the Young Bucks and Swerve and Ospreay because we were trying to figure out how we were getting to that tag match, and that seems to be the segment that they did where they had obviously Swerve was handcuffed to the ring. Hangman they had apparently taken out because earlier the Death Riders were following Hangman and he didn't know it. And they obviously beat him up and stuff. And then you have Will Ospreay get between Swerve and the Bucks, and that seems to be how we are getting to that match, which I think that'll be a really good match. Crash said that he's more concerned about Okada. Like everyone else, ring rust requires regular ring time to keep at the level that most are probably expecting, especially the older you get. I mean, that's a fair point. And maybe it's naive of me to say, well, it's Okada and I expect him to deliver. I mean, sure, maybe there is some ring rust there. I mean, that is a valid point because of the way that they have handled Okada thus far. He also has a new child, and so I think that maybe they've been giving him time off so that he could be with his wife and the new baby and his other child, and so perhaps that's part of the reason he's not been on TV, or at least in the ring as much as doing background segments. So I mean, I guess that's a fair concern to have, and maybe like I said, I'm just assuming too much because of the matches that Okada does put on, and of the first four matches that they've had. And so you are right though that you want those to live up because those are four of the greatest matches years, and so they do have they do have to deliver. And you even go back and think about those matches, though. Omega was like 70% in those matches. Like, he wasn't 100%, and he's clearly not 100% now, but like, he was wrestling so injured, and none of us had any idea until a long time later that he was not 100% in those matches, and yet he still turned out the quality of matches that he did. So you would hope, okay, he's had surgery now, he's recovered, even though, yes, he's, early 40s, you expect him to still go, and they haven't used Okada in the way that, he had been. So, maybe there is some concern that it won't live up to the hype, and I will be sad if it doesn't live up to the hype. And I think they will be sad if they don't give the type of match that they should. But yeah, he said, time to prove a little old doubter me wrong. It's fine. It'll be a banger. But I mean, you do make valid points.
It's not it's a point though that's been going around with a lot of people, and it's a very valid conversation to have, is that, have we overhyped this in our minds, and it, can it possibly live up to the hype and all that other jazz that we talk about? I think I'm willing to, given the equity that they've given me over the years, I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt.
Same.
Tend to be optimistic because I think that the gravity of the situation will play out one way or another, especially if it is, let's be real, if it is the last time they are in the ring together, then I feel like those two are probably going to bring it pretty hard.
I think that even if it's not necessarily the last time, this is the first stadium show
for AEW in the
US. This is a gigantic show, and they have to. And so not only are they delivering on an incredible series of matches that a lot of people regard, some of the top matches of, modern wrestling, or at least the last 15 years, that those are some of the best matches. And so there's already that, but then also the added pressure of this is All In is a huge show. It has to. The first two All Ins were huge successes. Like, they have to continue to this, with it being the first stadium show. So there's those pressures as well. I do think that they will show up. I do think we will get big match Okada, but I think we get big match Kenny Omega. I think they know what the pressure is, and they probably put their own pressure on themselves to deliver. And so there's a lot, and and like you said, they are not going to want to let anybody down. But on the other hand, Okada has wrestled less, and at the time when those other matches were happening, Kenny missed a lot of time as well. So yeah, I mean, those are valid concerns. And like Fernando says, Kenny will never be 100%, but Kenny Omega at 70% is still better than a lot of wrestlers at 100%. So there is that as well. But yeah, and so Jermaine says Omega versus Okada has the main event because of the new title, but to me, we as fans are putting so much pressure on these two guys to deliver like they did back in the day, and it could hurt the match. Again, that's a fair sentiment. You make a very valid point, and I clearly am one of those people because I expect, and it's hard because they are always great. They have, like you just said, they build up so much equity that neither one of them have ever let me down. I have never been disappointed by a match involving either of them, even separately. And so I do have a level of expectation, and maybe that's unfair, but also they have given me reason to have those expectations. And yes,
they set the expectations.
Certainly, maybe they set the bar themselves. And but yes, maybe I should, given everything that has happened between match 4 and 5, there's been, injuries and things like that, Kenny literally almost died. Like, we're lucky we're even getting this match. It almost never happened again. So maybe I will try to do better and just enjoy the match and not expect a 7-star match, but also they're the ones who have put on 7-star matches. So they did it to themselves.
It's their fault.
Right, exactly.
For once, the fans can blame them.
Yeah.
It's not because of us this time. It's your fault.
Yeah.
Because of the wrestlers.
Shame on you for calling yourself the best bout than actually being one. Venkin, are you excited for Goldberg versus Gunther going head to head with Allin? Hell yeah, I am, because I'm gonna laugh when I'm gonna laugh at that match. So
but it's not counter programming, so it doesn't matter.
They're just like, fuck you, Jey Uso. We have to give Goldberg a title match. At least Big E will be happy, I'm sure. Because he's getting.
I'm sure there's a bunch of random 58-year-old guys that are really excited for that match.
Bret, you know who's not happy about that match? Bret Hart. Bret Hart's not happy about that match, probably.
No. Forever mad.
Yeah. I make Beats said that Okada and Omega could do 2 headlocks and I'd be happy. They could have a Randy Orton chin lock match, and
yeah, there you go. We just like slap each other, they smack each other a few times, and just like Kenny one wing the Angels, Okada Rainmakers Kenny, and they both walk away. Yeah, you're probably right.
Nikki said Biggie is mad at Gunther and not him. Probably he's going to come out of retirement to give Goldberg his retirement match.
There you go.
Yeah, and Goldberg's talking about how he's been all beat up and stuff, and I was like, y'all aren't doing a real good job selling me on this match over here. I mean, not that it was already a sell for me, but like, yeah, you aren't helping things.
That's going to be a bit of a patch for me.
Yeah, what are the rules for it, and will it be treated as a second world title? I have heard recently, I read somewhere, I can't remember who said it. It might have been a quote from Big Dave. Somebody said it would be treated as a second world title. The TNT Championship originally was seen as being on the level of the World Championship when it was created, and the TNT title for a bit was really important, and then that kind of fell off, and it wasn't. So perhaps they hope that this doesn't mean that the C2 goes away, because I love the Continental Classic. But somebody said maybe maybe they change it, and the Continental Classic now leads to the winner doesn't get that title, but the winner gets a shot at the world title. But if they're going to treat this like a second world title, then maybe that you get a shot, I assume, at that. I mean, I hope they keep, and Tony seems to really love the C2. Like when he talks about it and he's asked about it, like he really loves it. And so I don't see that going away, because it's been such good programming for the latter part of the year, and they always deliver. There's always banger matches, and I hope it doesn't go away, because I love it. I like the C2 rules. I like that you can't interfere with these matches. Like it's pure as straight up wrestling match. Like there's no outside involvement. I hope that they keep those rules, even with the with them being merged, unified. That's the word I was looking for. So yeah, it'll be really interesting what they do. I make Beat said put a belt on Kenny or Big Cheeks, and it feels like a world title already. Right. And I think that's why. Crush said, oh no, not a second world title. I think I hear brand split sickos rushing forward from the bushes. Now you've done it. Listen, some of them are in here anyway. They're not here today, apparently. Bless them. Thank you for being here. We do love you when you are here, even though you always come in here with your. Now really, you're right. Now they're going to be like, yeah, do a brand. See, we need a brand split for the 2 titles. I make Beat said the story with Eddie going into the inception of that, the C2 and an emotional win, that belt feels important. See, and I feel that way too. And so, and I know that the booking has fallen off as far as making that title important, but the chase for Eddie to get that title was really important. And then you had the international championship, like I think clearly Orange Cassidy made the international title. He took it to another level, but Pac was taking that title back when Dark existed, taking that title to the UK, and he wrestled. One of the people he wrestled was LJ Cleary, who is now, he's back over here. He's in the States now. And who knows if he could potentially end up signing with WWE. But LJ Clear, like that's the first I had heard of him, but that was the first match I saw. They put that he would go have these banger matches with independent wrestlers, and then they'd turn around and they'd air it on Dark. Like he'd wrestle on a Saturday, and then that Tuesday it would be on Dark. And that was I thought that was a really cool thing. And they obviously they got away from doing that type of stuff. And then Ray Phoenix did have it, and he got injured, and John Moxley had to take it for a bit. And so there is a lot of, and that'll be another thing. And I've seen that brought up too. When they merge these titles, will we just start a brand new history, or will we recognize the previous champions who held the belt separately, or do we does that end there? And now with the unified title, we recognize, Kazuchika Okada as the first champion of the unified titles, and then the lineage starts from him, or do you count what happened prior for both belts before they were merged, and how do you handle that, and how did they handle that? Like, did they handle it as like this is a brand new belt with no history attached to it, or do we? But Tony Khan seems to love wrestling history, and I feel like he probably would want to recognize the history of all the previous champions for both titles. But perhaps they don't. Maybe they just kind of start all over because what that belt meant kind of fell apart at the end because of the way it was booked for a little bit there. And so I Make Beats said Takesha also made the international. Yes, you're right. Takesha did make the international title feel like a big deal by defending it all over the world. And see, I would like to see more of that. Like, regardless, like you could take the best of both things from the title. I would like to see this new title be defended all over the world and in different places. And CMLL, like, especially because you do have the relationship with CMLL, you do have the relationships with New Japan, you do have relationships with some of these indie companies. And so I would like to see them kind of revert to that, but then I'd like to see the C2 rules kept in place, and I'd like to keep the C2 tournament. So I think hopefully they keep the good things for both of them. Yeah, I agree that the international title should have been defended more internationally, and that was the original goal of it. And the international championship was created because Warner Brothers wanted a new title, and that's why it was created. And then obviously the Continental title was created for Eddie to make him the AEW's first ever Triple Crown champion, because that man loves AJPW so much that they were like, let's do this for Eddie, which I have no problem with. But now they split up all the belts, and so it wasn't the 3 titles anymore. And then it just kind of lost its purpose. And then, Okada wasn't defending it that often, and you had that. So, and then it'll be interesting to see where Eddie fits into all of this. And then so Takeshita would be potentially somebody that would be a good champion again to have this title, because he has contracts in 3 different companies, and he could go defend it in 3 different companies, and CMLL, for that matter. So, Crash said that they made that clear when. Oh wait, hang on. He said, "See, the global heavyweight title would make more sense. New Japan's branding, yes, fair. But they made that clear with Kenny's mini 4-way during the Fighter Fest. They made it clear what countries every wrestler was from, which is what they were doing in the beginning with that title. They made it clear for the people when they." Because they had a tournament. Then they have a tournament to crown the very first winner, and I think that's what they did.
But it was like the North American Championship, and it had like China on it or something. So we had to change it up a little.
Right? Yeah, it was weird. They did have to change that, but yeah. So
it was like, apparently the South Pacific's in North America now.
Whoopsie!
What a very American belt for us to make. Oops. We're not, guys, you're not helping with the stereotype about our education system.
No, not so much. But yeah, so I'm interested to see where that goes. How long the Okada Callis relationship plays out. Like, does it end? Like, if Okada wins it all in, does he just like turn on Don Callis and was like, "Fuck you too"?
Be like, bye.
Yeah, and then Fernando says that when Eddie comes back, he has to confront and feud with Moxley right away. They don't have to have a title to do that.
Nope.
And then, yes, that would be correct. The AEW has 3 singles belts. at All In, after All In, yes, they will have 3: the TNT, the World, and the Unified. As far as the singles, and then of course the tag team titles, and then the women have the 2, obviously, and then ROH obviously has their set of titles.
Yeah.
Probably. I might be so. All the WWE marks must be freaking out. The WWE has more championship.
Well, it is a better company.
There are a lot of titles, but yeah, I mean, I think unifying them. At first, I was against it just because of the history of both of them. If they're going to, knowing Tony the way that he was, that they'll honor the history of both of them, and then maybe they'll book it better with it being one title instead of 2. All right. I think we have hit all of our conversation notes, unless there's anything else that you want to bring up.
I think I'm good.
Yes. And so shout out again to John for coming to hang out with us. We really appreciate that. And we will definitely have him back. And let me answer Jermaine's question before I say anything else. Will Mercedes win the CMLL title this Wednesday, or Tony and Mina interfere in the match or beat the crap out of her after the match? I think it will probably be that Tony and or Mina interferes in that match. Because Tony, I mean, Mercedes attacked Mina, obviously, because she thinks Mina cost her the New Japan Women's Strong title. I feel like, obviously, we got to get to that feud at some point. So I think that keeps it fresh. And since Mercedes attacked her, I think Mina is gonna get her lick back there. And I don't think Zissou is probably going to drop the title. I mean, you could if you're keeping the belt collector gimmick, but I don't know what CMLL will be a part of that. They'll be like, maybe. I mean, granted, Mercedes having the CMLL title could be very big business for them.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
You could do that.
Potential.
You could do that, but I wouldn't. I am almost leaning more towards Mina. I mean, Tony certainly could get involved, especially because Mercedes keeps like picking on her and things like that. So I could see Mercedes. I feel like it's more if anybody's going to interfere, I feel like it'll be Mina more than Tony. But yes, we do. Just in time for us. Collins, thank you so much.
Thank you, Collins.
We needed Athena versus Mercedes. I am crestfallen that we are not getting that match at All In. I feel like that was the All In match to go with. I've been very vocal about that. And again, Tony versus Mercedes is going to be great, and they will deliver. But I just really needed that match, and I needed it at Globe Life, and especially after we got a little bit of a taste from their Owen Hart Cup match. I need more of that. I need a full-on feud between Athena and Mercedes. So
yeah.
Nikki agrees. I make beats. Mercedes actually, she has 5 belts. She went to Austria last weekend, and a wrestler came back, made her return, and dropped her title, and so Athena now has that title. And she keeps calling herself Mercedes 5 belts. So if she wins the CMLL title, I believe that she will be. I believe that will be belt 6, according to what Mercedes says.
Wow.
That would be because she's got. Yeah. So I mean, you could. I mean, if they're going to keep with the belt collector gimmick going into All In, they certainly could have her win if CMLL is
okay with it. Yeah.
Yeah, if they're into it. I mean, if she's going to go down there and wrestle, like, clearly we know that she loves wrestling in Mexico. I don't think she's not opposed to wrestling wherever. I mean, clearly she showed up in Austria and wrestled and took a title. So she goes to the she's going to go back to the UK. She's already been there to defend the Rep Pro title that she has. So she's certainly like, she could go to. I don't think she would probably. I mean, maybe CMLL wants that because Mercedes would be big business for them, and she loves wrestling in Mexico. So I mean, I think it would be a win-win. So I would certainly not be mad at it. I mean, again, I'm not speaking. I don't want to speak for CMLL fans. Maybe that's not what they want. Maybe
Yeah, right.
they don't want her to come take their title. Yes, exactly. There is a new belt collector in town. Like, and we were talking about it before that Mercedes is. I mean, Becky Lynch is also a bit of a belt collector in the sense that now she has the women's US championship, and I think she's won I believe she's held every women's title in WWE except for the new women's Intercontinental title. And I feel like, Becky is in the same sense as she likes to have, there's nothing wrong with wanting to be champion and hold every single women's title. Why not? So, and let Mercedes hold all the belts. Let her recreate, why did I just blank on them? I can see the picture, the Ultimo Dragon picture with the 9 titles dangling off of her. Laurent says, what other women's matches, if any, do you think we get it all in? If they do, only one women's match that feels like a step back for the division. I do think that they'll add another women's match.
Seems like they're trying to build something with Statlander. I mean, they're at least teasing it.
I don't know. Yeah, that was right. I forgot. So we had that weird not weird, but we had that interaction with Stat and Wheeler Yuta.
Yeah.
Where he's like, forget about Willow, move on to something else, and don't forget. And then he like cackled at her, and Marina was like, looked at her like, why the hell are you laughing at her like that? So that's an interesting, which I'm kind of glad they needed. Chris needs something else to do besides focusing on Willow. And I don't know, I didn't see the date on it, but I know Chris is wrestling in Pro Wrestling Eve. I don't think the match has happened yet. I think that's an upcoming match. I don't, what? Something else that she's doing. But they've got to build up something else for the women. I don't think we're getting tag titles as soon as All In. I think that's a little. I still think they're testing out the theory. Like, we could get a women's tag match on the card, but I don't see it being for. And hopefully, it won't be just on 0 Hour. Like, hopefully, we just have a bonus women's match on 0 Hour too. And so, I would like to somehow get Athena on this card. Somehow, it should be on this card, and it should be on the main card, not on 0 Hour Tony Khan. But there's so many good women, and they've been telling stories, and I just need. And I don't know how long Harley is supposed to be off TV. I know that they wrote her off because of something else that was going on. I don't know how long she's supposed to be gone. There's Willow and Marina who've been telling their story a bit. I would like to see them at some point get a singles match, and a real one, like not a 5-minute match. So, yeah, listen, I would take that. I would take Willow versus Athena at All In because they are great. Jermaine says we're getting Athena versus Thunder Rosa. Tekla versus Jamie is coming, and we're getting a women's tag match. All on All In? Like, listen, if we got all of that on All In, I would be so happy, but I don't trust that man to book that many women's matches. He can't even book them on a 4-hour TV show. I'm not expecting. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he'll be like, man, I really fucked up here. Let's give them a whole bunch of matches on All In.
Yay.
I mean, they are building stories. Like, Athena is Thunder Rosa. I know Thunder Rosa did challenge Athena for ROH. Not the last episode, but the last episode I saw. Thunder Rosa did challenge Athena, so that is happening. Does that happen on Supercard? Did they make Athena versus Thunder Rosa the title match for Supercard of Honor? The way things are going, probably yes, because they aren't doing a very good job of booking a match there. So I don't know. But then you could do, oh man, Tekla versus Jamie Hayter would be good, because if you get Jamie coming back, and maybe that's why they've written her off, because we were talking about that before, like, where is Jamie? So you could do. I mean, the stories are there. It's the fact of, will he book them there? And that's a big question to ask. But there is, yes, thank you, Crash. He gets it. So much talent in AEW Women's Division, so many potential legendary feuds. Get on it, TK. Yes, we're right there with you. Okay, I think we're going to wrap up for real this time.
All right. Well, everybody.
But thank you for your questions. We appreciate it.
Thanks for
But
being
yes,
here.
so make sure that you follow us. Yes.
Yep. You go.
And on Thursday, you know, go ahead. If you want more G1 talk, go check it out. Go check out this is speaking wrong style. But before that, on Wednesday, you have the Dynamite show that is on this very channel. You also have the wrap, because I'm sure Keela and Salty some of about the King and Queen of the Ring tournament matches that they've been having, and also about the new Blake Monroe and some of the matches that they are starting to build towards Evolution whenever they get around to booking those matches for Evolution too. And so definitely go check them out. And then you've got Scott Edwards with the 5-Star Joshi show. And so there's all kinds of good content. And then yesterday, I'm going to plug this. But yesterday was the second episode of the Watchback, and myself and Keela Cash and Garrett we revisited Evolution, the very first one. And Mel, unfortunately, was supposed to be with us, but she had some in real life things, and Garrett's schedule changed, and so unfortunately, Mel did not get to join us, and we missed her very much yesterday. But we had a really good conversation about the first Evolution and looking at it at a 2018 show with 2025 eyes.
I bet.
And so that is on the YouTube channel. You can check that out. And then the next one that they're going to do, it's going to be sometime before All In. But Garrett, Jeremy, and Steven are going to rewatch Omega Okada 1,
Nice.
which will be a lot of fun. So definitely make sure to check that out and come back next Sunday. I will say we may have a guest next week. I am working those details out, so we may have a guest, and if not, it'll just be me and Mel talking to you guys. And I'm sure with All In building up, there will be plenty to talk about.
Truly. Plus, we like to surprise you, so you'll just have to tune in and find out.
Yes.
All right, everyone, have a great rest of your week.